Show me your moves.
Well, Han's alive anyway. Spoiler alert.
What? Good evening, you nerf-hurting nerd herders, and welcome to another episode of Geek Life, your source for all the nerdy news you need to know. I'm your host, Jake the Great, the streamer with the headband that says Supreme, but the beard that says, they call me Giantsbane. Want to know why? If you're new to the show, we are a 2.5-hour mashup of all things pop culture, news, and movies, TVs, all the stuff that you know and love. We talk about shows, movies, video games, and grand debates on which superheroes are like DJ Khaled or not. Joining me today, we've got the Sax ready to make it or take it to the max. It's the fattest Sax in the building. How are you doing tonight, Sax?
Hey, what's going on, Jake? I'm doing real good, man. I'm just enjoying myself. It was hot as hell today.
Hot as hell, literally.
Yeah, literally. Was doing some cooking, so it made it even hotter outside on the grill for Father's Day. But I'm on the grill. It was hot.
Oh, dude, going full Father's Day.
Hot as fuck. Did it
with the flames popping on you.
Big facts. But yeah, I'm doing good.
Awesome, nice. Awesome. And back again this week, a legend in the streets because of his beats. We got Comrade Kev. How are you doing, Kev?
I'm doing amazing now. That was great. I love that intro.
If you enjoy the beats that we come into, those come from Comrade Kev.
I'm here to provide that. No, I'm good. We've just been moving a lot, so I feel like I've crawled out of a hole. I sadly couldn't watch all the E3 stuff live, so I was like purposely staying away from the internet and things. But I caught up this week, and I was very pleased and super excited to get into it tonight.
No, there's that's a good thing. If you missed it, then tonight we're definitely going to go over it.
Yes, we are.
And so, there's how have you guys been dealing with everything kind of like opening back up? I know you said you're moving, Kev. Sax, you got anything coming up on your end?
On my end, I've got something coming in September. It's a Blue Ridge Rock Festival in Virginia. That's running from, I believe, the 9th or 10th to the 12th.
We'll provide y'all links. Check them out.
Oh,
yeah, we'll definitely have to hype that up on the socials whenever it gets closer to time. That's in September.
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's in September. It's the second week.
Awesome.
September.
Yeah, as Dodd said in chat, he will be here. The Dodd is coming. So Virginia, buckle up.
Buckle up, Virginia.
I'm ready. I'm ready for him.
Awesome. Well, before we get started, a quick reminder for everyone that if you like what you see here on the show tonight, feel free to follow us at Geek Life Live or on any of our other social medias, or for even more content and all of that good stuff. But you can also follow us on our personal socials. You can find me at Gonzo Gone Live on Twitch and Twitter. Sax, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at Javen Shepherd, and you can find me on Twitch at _fattest_Sax.
Awesome. Kev, where can they find you at?
Totally awesome on Twitch and the TikToks.
Nice. Yeah, definitely follow us on the TikToks. We got a lot going on the TikToks.
Yeah, we got some heat on the TikToks.
But we have a great show planned for you guys. Kev, hit us with the rundown.
Yes. Thanks, Jake. We have a banger lined up for you guys this evening. First, we're giving you all the nerdy news. Headlines.
Thanks, Kev. And actually, some more foreplay on the way. Starting out, Harley Quinn producers reveal Batman and Catwoman sex scene that DC wouldn't allow, and the internet has thoughts, including Zack Snyder. A recent interview with the Harley Quinn showrunners revealed some surprising pushback they received over Batman and Catwoman's sex life. Recently, Variety spoke to the showrunners of several superhero genre television shows about how they attempt to subvert the popular superhero tropes while still making good television. Halpern provided Variety with a surprising example from the upcoming season, which involves WB nixing a proposed sex scene featuring Batman and Catwoman. A perfect example of that is in this third season of Harley, when we had a moment where Batman was going down on Catwoman. Meow. Halpern said, and DC was like, "You can't do that. You absolutely cannot do that." They were like, "Heroes don't do that." So he
Oh,
said, "Are you saying heroes are just selfish lovers?" They were
oh,
like, "No, it's that we sell consumer toys for heroes. Uh,
oh.
it's hard to sell a toy if Batman is going down on someone. I am 1,000% sure there are Batman. You know what? I'm going to move on.
But they're fine with these just
Disagree.
clapping cheeks. Never mind.
Facts.
Disagree.
Variety noted that Halpern and co-executive producer Patrick Schumacher were still complimentary on their experience of Harley Quinn, and the Warner Brothers had allowed them to push the envelope multiple times.
Oh yeah.
Still, the anecdote shows how protective Warner Brothers is of some DC characters, especially when it comes to revealing their more intimate side. Yeah,
Wow, that
that's
story is like we'll get into it afterwards because I know like
oh,
there's definitely some thoughts on that one.
oh,
But like, oh man, like they definitely have let them push the envelope on this series, even without letting Batman just straight go down on Harley or on Catwoman. So like the Cancer Ray is probably one of the funniest jokes I've ever seen, and
Yeah.
that was like, if you haven't seen the Harley Quinn animated show, definitely check it out. It's worth it.
Yeah.
Great show.
Yeah.
But what else do we got, Sax?
all right. Next up, Cyberpunk 2077 returns to the PlayStation Store on June 21st. CD Projekt says. Cyberpunk 2077 will return to Sony's PlayStation Store on June 21st, more than 180 days after the PlayStation 4 version of the game was pulled from sale by Sony amid complaints about the game's performance. Excuse me. The announcement was made in a regulatory disclosure by CD Projekt, the parent company of CD Projekt Red. Polygon had reached out to Sony for confirmation. The return of Cyberpunk 2077 to Sony's digital store comes after developer CD Projekt Red's release of multiple major patches and hot fixes for the game. Recent updates have targeted hundreds of bugs and improved performance of last generation console versions of the game. In December, Sony delisted the game from the PlayStation Store. Sony Interactive Entertainment said in a statement at the time that it strives to ensure the high level of customer satisfaction and subsequently removed the game from its digital store. Ah,
Oh,
man.
thanks, Daddy Sony.
Yeah.
I
We'll
mean,
get into you more.
I'm
later.
glad they protected everybody from that consumer nightmare, that was Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Moving on.
Not your
Up
PC
the
though,
quarter.
Jake. Sorry.
oh yeah, sorry, I'm PC Master Race, so I got to play Cyberpunk. It's awesome. I'm glad PlayStation got it back in the store. Like, it's good that the Sony kids can finally play it. I mean, if it's even playable on those things.
Yeah.
Sony kids, I love it.
Oh, my bad. Am I talking shit about Sony? Sorry. I mean, the great Sony people.
Or- All right. Next up, Five Nights at Freddy's creator retires after political donations controversy. Scott Cawthon, the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's games, has announced his retirement. The decision comes in the wake of a controversy over the developer's political donations to Republican Party candidates, including Donald Trump. On the scottgames.com website, Cawthon wrote, I realize that I miss a lot of things that I got to focus on before FNAF became such a success. I miss making games for my kids. I miss just doing it for fun. And I miss making RPGs even though I stink at it. All of this to say that I'm retiring. He went on to praise the support of Five Nights at Freddy's fan base. I have been shown tremendous love and support over this last week, a lot of which has come from the LGBTQ community, he said. The kindness shows to me has been surreal. His mention of the LGBTQ community is important. Just a few days ago, Cawthon was caught up in a controversy over a revelation that he had donated thousands of dollars to Republican political candidates, many of which have shown anti-LGBTI plus sentiments of their belief. A substantial part of the Five Nights at Freddy's community crosses over with the LGBTQIA plus community. And so it's easy to understand why so many fans were upset by Coffin's donations. Wow.
Yeah, that's a wild one for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
No, because the LGBT community definitely love Five Nights at Freddy's. It's a big one, like it said. And so, this is a classic Chick-fil-A debacle you got going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking down further in this list here. Moving on to the last piece here. The Demon Slayer movie will stream exclusively on Funimation. The Demon Slayer movie will soon be available to stream, but only through Funimation. The company announced on Thursday that Demon Slayer Mugen Train will be available to stream on its website or various apps starting on June 22nd. Funimation will have both the dubbed and subbed versions of Demon Slayer Mugen Train. Funimation has a free ad option, but it's unclear if the Demon Slayer movie will be available to users with free accounts. The movie will be exclusive to the service in the United States, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. Demon Slayer Mugen Train picks up the story of Demon Slayer shortly after the first season ends and adapts an entire arc from the original manga. The movie enjoyed critical success and unprecedented box office returns in the United States, despite being released in early 2021 when many theaters were still closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Even with limited theaters, the movie still managed to break box office records and become the second highest grossing anime movie of all time. That is incredible.
Yeah.
No,
it is. It's Demon Slayer. I went and saw it in theaters. It was one of the first ones that I saw after I even think I may have been vaccinated then too, which whatever. But that shit was hype. That was such a good movie. Yeah. And I see chat blowing up about it. But yeah, no, it's going to be a Funimation exclusive, which is interesting with it being also on Netflix. Yeah. That's kind of a very, I didn't know if it was a Netflix original or not. I just knew it was on Netflix. That's where I watched it at. And so for the movie to only be exclusively on Funimation, at least when it drops, that's kind of whack.
Yeah, that's kind of a bummer.
A little bit.
But back in the top story, what are your guys' thoughts on the Bat-Cat debate?
Oh, boy.
Are heroes selfish lovers, or is DC just trying to think of the children, even on a show that's made for adults?
Yeah, that's what's kind of weird and hypocritical, even contradictory, where it's this show is made for adults. Why are you worried about the nuances of what goes on the show? It's not kids shouldn't be watching this anyway.
No, exactly. Yeah. And and it's not they're making action figures specifically for the Harley Quinn show.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And if they are, it would be collectible ones that, I think there's definitely somebody out there that would buy a nice statuesque, realistic bust of Batman going down on Catwoman. I'm 100% on that one. I know.
Cat 69 Funko Pop.
Sax is one right here. I was actually thinking Kate, our producer.
But it's kind of crazy, man. It's we can't sell toys, but it's not thinking of the children. It's how can we keep making bucks off of children? So you can't have Batman doing nasty things because parents won't buy our stuff for their kids. That's literally what it is.
But isn't he doing nasty things anyway?
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, that's actually what was interesting about the headline was that Zack Snyder even weighed in and showed Zack Snyder tweeted a picture from one of the comic books where Batman was already eating out Catwoman, and he said this is canon. And so I was like, your move, DC. Batman's already ate Cat in the books. That's basically saying that Jesus didn't walk on water, and somebody's like, no, he did. It's in the scripture. And I was like, they got checked. They got checked.
Yeah, they did.
Zack Snyder pulling out the Hail Mary. He was like, no, Batman definitely. I think
it's an old, dated sort of machismo, misogynistic thing. You know what I mean? I think that's what deeper level. I think that's what's going on here. They don't care about the fucking kids. It's an adult. It's on HBO Max.
Exactly. It's on HBO Max. They know that no kids are going to be watching the Harley Quinn show. And I mean, if it did get uploaded, kind of as a joke, because it is animated, so I could see where somebody could get confused. But it's still. It's not like YouTube would allow it, depending on how they show it, though. Like, so,
what a weird statement. Like, heroes don't do
heroes
that.
don't
Like,
do that. That's a bold stance to take. Like,
these are adults. These are grown ass
adults.
men and women
Could
who
you imagine?
have desires. What you mean?
Could you imagine being in that situation where someone asks you to do something? I'm like, I'm sorry, baby. Heroes don't do that.
Heroes don't do that. That's why like I made the DJ Khaled joke, because it's just which honestly it sparked an interesting conversation in the Discord in general, where we were all just like, which Justice League characters would and wouldn't, and so like. And I stand by my I think Barry Allen definitely eats cat like it's his job. Like I think that's that dude. He's a pearl diving champion, for sure. Like there's no way around.
Undefeated, never lost.
Probably does it the best too. If we're being honest.
That's what I mean.
Easily. Yeah, easily. Never lost. It's so fucking funny, man. But. Cyberpunk coming to PlayStation. Do you guys think it's a little too late? Cyberpunk, that was the other big news this week. It's coming back to PlayStation. It was huge news that it got pulled from the store, because honestly, I think that's the first time any of us has ever really seen that happen. And so it coming back to the PlayStation store, what are you guys thinking about it?
Well, even if I had a PlayStation, at this point in the game, I'm not that excited about it because the game had already dropped. I mean, if you failed at launch to, perform the way that you should, going back and making adjustments, stuff like that, that's good for the longevity, but I'm not as excited for it now coming back to the store, especially, again, I've got a PC. I can play it on PC. You know what I'm saying? If I wanted to do that. So, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the PlayStation players, have PCs as well. And they probably just got it on PC. And it's like,
facts. Some of them did. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work in the marketplace. I don't know what kind of return they're going to get. I'm sure they're going to get something, but I'm not sure.
I think it's like a little too late. Like unless it's like the actual version that was supposed to come out with the massive update that they were planning. I don't even own a PlayStation, but if it was like roles reverse, same thing for the Xbox, I wouldn't be. I still haven't bought the game, so I'm waiting for them to.
This is going to be
fix it.
One of the most interesting like video gaming case studies one day, as far as like just the overall launch, reception, development, marketing, everything as far as like Cyberpunk was concerned. Because like everybody was super excited about it. I mean, I played it on PC and it worked fine for me for most of my first playthrough, and a little bit of the second one. I had some bugs, but everything kind of smoothed out eventually. But I think a lot of PlayStation players may have already, have either played it, like you said, or they've probably already seen enough spoilers from it, because it's just one of those where like it's been out for, we're moving on, almost a year.
Yeah. Damn, you're right.
So, in a few months. Well, no, about a half a year. We'll at least give it 6 months, because I think it came out around November,
December.
right? Yeah,
I think
November,
it was December.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
in fact, it's out in 2020.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Felt like forever ago.
Five Nights at Freddy's creator is in a real Chick-fil-A pickle. Thoughts? Thoughts on that? Should we separate the artist from the artist, or the art from the artist, or is Five Nights kind of like one of those things that may just end up getting canceled eventually? But it looks like with him stepping down. You know what I mean? Like,
it's not a great look. Like, if we're being honest, like I hate equating people's like morality or ethics to their political affiliation. But knowing what we know, about certain affiliations, it's hard to like where do we draw a line? Where do we separate it? Like, I don't know. I hate being that guy where it's like cancel him, because he donated, but I also like want to do it responsibly, where I'm not like, just ignore it. It doesn't matter, because it does matter.
Yeah.
It's for me, it's one of those things where it's like how Kevin said, you don't know where someone stands when they support who it is they support. You know what I'm saying? Especially since they, like, as far as I know, Scott Cawthon hasn't come out and publicly went against the LGBT community. You know what I'm saying? Or anything like that. And he's even gone on to say when he about his retirement that if he gets canceled, then he gets canceled. He's done what he's going to do. He didn't do it. He doesn't do it for money anymore. He does it because he enjoys doing it. And if at this point he feels that his work is going to cause more harm than good, he's just going to, he says he'd rather be canceled and retire. And he said it would be better. So it's almost in the thing of seeing a creator and a creation parting ways, where I believe Scott Cawthon is stepping away from Five Nights at Freddy's for Five Nights at Freddy's, not for himself. I feel like he's doing it to save his creation, which,
pretty much,
because it's so much. I mean, FNAF, it'll go down. I was just struggling with this earlier. It's kind of legend because, man,
it is. Yeah.
When you talk about horror games, you got to talk about Five Nights at Freddy's.
It's scary shit.
It's one of the GOATs when it comes to especially like horror video games. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt Pratt made a career making Five Nights at Freddy theories on YouTube, essentially. Like, if you guys have ever seen any of those. But like, no, Five Nights at Freddy's, I think it'll continue to live on. I think you're exactly right, Sax. This is kind of a move to help save the franchise in a way, because like he knows that, I mean, the dude at the end of the day, he may just be conservative. He's donating to what he feels like is right, and that's his right as an American. So, but he doesn't want it to affect his creation. And so, he's like, all right, well, then I'm just going to step down. And so, like,
you got to give it to him for that, because that's like, because you can tell some people would be ballsy and be like, no, F that. I'm going to, ride until the wheels fall off. And, if I die, it dies with me.
Are unapologetic for no reason. Right. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, why die on that hill? It doesn't make much sense to me, bro. Like, just you've made the money. He's going to keep making money. Like, he's just like stepping down. He's like, like, all right, well, I'm not.
I'll be here.
Yeah, I'll be here.
But I'm not making it no more.
I'll be over there. Yeah.
Well, guys, that is not all the news that we have for you this week. Our top story is E3. And boy, it was a big one. After a whole year of hibernation, E3 is back, baby. And, well, kind of. I mean, it may have lacked a lot of the pageantries of other years, but it may have been mostly just trailers for...
They had one this year, right?
Exactly, yeah. At least it was here. But it was still nice to have the show back, and man, we got some incredible announcements, honestly. We'll kick it off where E3 did, and we're going to dive right in with Ubisoft. Their big announcement right out of the gate was Rainbow Six Extraction. We got a new look at the upcoming Rainbow Six Extraction, which is a spinoff of Rainbow Six Siege's Outbreak mode. The game was originally going to be called Rainbow Six Quarantine, but after 2020's pandemic, Ubisoft changed the name to Extraction.
That makes sense. I was wondering, why they changed the name?
Yeah. It was originally
too soon.
Quarantine. Yeah, too soon. Too soon. Everybody was like, I'm not gonna get over quarantine to go back and play Quarantine. Like, what the fuck? Like,
but why though? But it looks really good though. Like,
it does.
I'm excited for what it is, because it's PvE. Because I'm a Siege player, and to have the PvE things that came from time to time in Siege, especially the Outbreak mode, was hella fun. You know what I mean? Because it just gave you a different look on the game, and it gives the characters. This is what I'm looking forward to most than anything. It looks like it's going to give the characters even more development, and that's what I've been longing for the Rainbow Six Siege franchise. So I'm excited.
No.
Oh, sorry. What were you gonna say, Kev?
Oh no, I was gonna say, like, this is basically that their PvE that they had, like, I think 2-3 years ago, whatever, Chimera, something. Yeah. Anyway, they basically just took that and made it, which is brilliant, because that mode was hella fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not even all the news, because Rainbow Six Siege also announced that with its 6-year promises quality of life improvements and including crossplay coming next year. So Six Siege and I think Extraction will both have it, which is going to be really interesting. So that's a huge announcement coming out of Ubisoft. That's a long-standing franchise, 6 years. So they have definitely been doing it. Kev, you play some Rainbow Six Siege, right?
Me and Sax, we've been with it since day one.
Nice. Are you guys looking forward to the quality of life improvements and crossplay?
Oh, absolutely.
Get a couple more.
We still play it today. So we're not as good. I'll speak for myself. I'm not as good as I once was. I'm getting back slowly but surely. But yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm in
believe.
that same boat where it's like it's slowly creeping up, and it's like, okay, I'm starting to get back. My nickname used to be Headshot. It's slowly but surely getting back to headshot status. I'm not so thrilled about the crossplay though on the PvP because
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really, really don't want to deal with mouse and keyboard. I
No.
just
No.
really don't want to deal with
It's
that.
not fair.
Dude,
It's
you get
not fair.
fucking thraxed, my guy. Like it is bad. It is not fun. I like as soon as I got a PC, I was like, oh yeah, you know what? I'll just jump into some Halo Master Chief. You know, like go back to playing Halo. Like like
Mm-mm.
oh look at me, I'm good at it.
Mm-mm.
And no,
No.
like fucking, I got clapped. I could tell whenever I was playing against somebody with a controller because I could beat them. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, you little controller bitch, like, and
Yeah.
then like get clapped by everybody else. So,
Yeah.
but that's
Oh,
not all the news that we got out of Ubisoft. Raiders Republic, we got to look at the Extreme Sports
Oh, that game looks
Smorgasbord
cool.
Raiders Republic hub, along with peaks at 6v6 competitions, career mode, mass races, and even an exploration mode. Ubisoft also gave players a first look at first-person mountain biking, snowboarding around parks, and gliding between mountains with a rocket-powered jetpack.
Yeah.
There are races across of all sports, including rocket-powered pedal bikes to go with your new jetpack. So, Riders Republic, which essentially is like a ode to the old school BMX games. That one, it honestly, it looked pretty crazy, like with the
Yeah.
jetpacks and everything. So. What are you guys thinking about Riders of the Republic? Did you get to check the trailer out or anything like that?
I did. It looks amazing. It reminds me of a game they had that I think didn't really do as well. Called, what was it, Steep or something?
yes,
Um,
yes,
and it looks like they're kind of going in that direction, but a little bit more. They're like taking the training wheels off of it with this game. From what I saw, it
Yeah.
looks pretty crazy. You know what it's like? It's like The Crew, but like extreme sports, where this open world MMO style, competitive, like
I
extreme
remember
sports
the
game.
crew.
There hasn't
Yeah.
really been anything like that, so it looks pretty cool. And that first person mountain biking gave me vertigo, so that was kind
No, I could not do it. I would never. But like, honestly, like flying around with jetpacks and, rocket powered pedal bike races and things like that. Like, I mean, dude, I would have to play that just on the fun meter alone,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like an adult rocket power video game. Like, and
Yeah.
I'm super duper excited for it. Because I haven't played games like that in a long since like the Tony Hawk franchise, and I used to
Yeah,
play
no, it's
games back in the day. So not like there's a longing for those games. I mean, I know the Tony Hawk 1 and 2 came out not too long ago, but it's like, man, where's everything else at? And this is scratching that itch because I really wanted to play Steep, but there was a lot of problems with it. But this looks
yeah.
like this is really good. So
And I
Yeah.
miss, yeah, they did bringing back the new Tony Hawks or remastering Tony Hawk was a good idea. I
Yeah.
still long for like Underground to get remastered,
Oh, that was
or like the ones that were super crazy when you can get off your
Yeah.
skateboard and do like RPG shit in a way.
Yeah.
Like, oh
yeah,
my God,
pretty
that
much.
game's wow.
Yeah. That
But
was cool.
we also got to look at Far Cry 6. We got an introduction to Far Cry 6's new story and met Gerardo Espadon's Antonio Castillo. Wow, Jesus Christ, that's a lot. But basically, the dude who played Gus from Breaking Bad, we got to see his new character in Far Cry 6. We got a little bit more out of that trailer. And like I had said kind of at the top, this was mostly a lot of trailers. We didn't really get to see a lot of gameplay on things, unfortunately. But on Far Cry 6, it really did look like a beautiful game. And these games have always been some pretty looking games. But did either of you get to play Far Cry 5, or are you excited about Far Cry 6? Or do you fuck with the Far Cry franchise at all?
Here and there. I've never really got like fully engrossed in it. I've always wanted to. This might be the time to do it. Looks really good. So
Yeah, for
Oh
me,
yeah,
I've never played a Far Cry game before, but I've always, like, and it's normally at E3 where I see them, and it's
and they
like
show out.
this
yeah.
this looks fire. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
the way that my man did dude's grandmother on that boat was savage. I'm like,
Yeah.
They're pretty. I'm not gonna lie. Like I've seen a lot of people shit on Far Cry, and I really don't get it because I know that
I don't either.
sometimes they do feel a little repetitive, but they're pretty games and they're fun.
Mhm.
Like they're honestly fun first person kind of like havoc wreaking. Like you go do a lot of like Obviously, I think it's kind of Assassin's Creed like in a way where you're doing a lot of camps and you're taking out like different camps and stuff and moving to different things. But like some of the shit you can unlock and do in Far Cry games, it's awesome. Like the wingsuit and oh man. Anyway, we could do a whole show on Far Cry. Trust me, I enjoy them. They're fun games.
Yeah.
And speaking of crazy announcements, Ubisoft kind of ended the day with its Avatar announcement. Did you guys check out that? The Shadow Drop engine is powered. It's whatever the fuck that is. It's powering the return to James Cameron's, what is it, Pandora? Yeah, that's what they call it.
Yeah.
And Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. This is coming in 2022. We got pretty much, nothing but a big cinematic from it that, looked like a CGI fever dream. But what are you guys' thoughts of Avatar being a video game now?
Man, I am hella excited because it's like I need a second Avatar movie. That's for one, but it looks like we're getting a game. So I'm like, okay, I can rock with that. That works. It looks really good. I'm interested to see how it's going to pan out, like how you get to play. If it's going to be its own story in and of itself.
Yeah.
How it's going to work out. I'm really interested in this. Like the PvP aspect. Yeah.
Do I get to make my own avatar guy?
Right.
Because if so,
sure.
is this like the Harry Potter
Pandorian?
Game?
Yeah.
Where you get to make a wizard and then it's like an RPG kind of a thing, but this is set in Pandora. Because I may fuck with that.
Yeah.
If it's like just cool. If it's kind of like just kind of a movie video game, it's like, dude, I know what happened in the movie. I saw it in theaters like every other living person at that time.
Yeah.
Like
those don't really work as well.
I really hope it that way.
Those aren't as fun.
Its own story. It's like what like the whole Spider-Man thing that Sony did. Like when they came out with that game, that's its own complete different story from the cinematics, and it's fantastic.
Yeah. No. And I mean, I get Frontiers of Pandora. It looked like we got a little clip of seeing them fly one of those fucking creatures that you like do the hair tangle thing with, and I mean that shit was sick. Like honestly, if this is an open world game where I'm in Pandora playing as one of those avatars and I get to do what I do, like that may be fire. Like this may be a fun one. And if you're taking down like mechs and shit, but with like spears and shit, because like it's dragons
or whatever those things.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Like honestly, it may end up being sick. Like, I think the big one is going to be, can they get enough people on board with the Avatar franchise again? Like I feel like with them coming out with it in like Disney Studios and everything, because they did just come out with like Lands of Pandora or whatever, Disney, I think. But like that's still been the first Avatar thing we've gotten since like I was a teenager, essentially.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
Like
2009.
Like I was about to say 2009.
Maybe no, it's 2009, 2008, something like that.
I think it was either 2008 or 2009, and so it's
been
a long time.
9,
But enough on Ubisoft Avatar. Obviously, the Ubisoft I think really had a strong day. I think overall, like Rainbow Six Extraction looked great. Siege looked good.
Ubisoft always does this. It's the execution. That's
that is true.
Ubisoft
They always look
they
good.
know how to present some shit. But what the final product comes out as, that's you gotta wait and see. So, but they've gotten better. They've gotten better at that. I will give them that. They've gotten better.
Here's the thing about that though. They'll come out strong on presentation day. The game will drop. It'll be trash. But then after a year, because like you said, we were Rainbow Six from the jump, and it took about a year before it became out of control. Same thing happened with like Wildlands when that came out. Same thing happened with For Honor when it came out. Like all the Ubisoft games were like trash in the beginning, but then they develop into amazingness. Except for the Assassin's Creed games, they're great from the word go. So,
whoever the fuck they get to build those. I mean, well, they all have some bugs, and some stuff in them. But overall, Assassin's Creed's pretty polished. They usually do a pretty good job on those.
Yeah.
But Xbox and Bethesda basically said, we are going to double team this hoe and straight up like come at y'all together. And, they Eiffel Towered America with their announcements. And they came right out of the gate with Starfield, which we were talking about like right before the show, which is essentially just space Skyrim. Peak of Bethesda's first all-new universe in 25 years, which, holy shit, that's a big reveal. The Xbox exclusive is set hundreds of years in the future, and according to its Twitter account, it's an epic about hope, our shared humanity, and answering our greatest mystery. It will release November 11th, 2022, and will be available day and date on Game Pass, which essentially is their biggest thing. Is like now, day one, all of our exclusives are on Game Pass. And so, did you guys get a chance to check out the Starfield announcement? How are you feeling about a new epic? I didn't realize it had been 25 years since Bethesda's cranked out a new universe. But if you really think about it, they've been milking Fallout and Elder Scrolls for so long. It's pretty crazy that we're getting a whole new universe from Bethesda Studios.
Yeah, that's that Microsoft money coming in.
Yeah, for real. Bill Gates, that check finally cleared.
Yeah. No, you know what? I'm super excited. One, I like anything to deal with space, so and exploring space. So I'm pretty stoked about it. I don't know what's going on. I mean, in it, from what I've read so far. I mean, I'm hoping it's more. I hope it's more like Space Skyrim, more so than like No Man's Sky. Because No Man's Sky is fun, but we don't need another No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky is fun, but it's kind of grindy, and it's really a go collect them and building game, you know?
Right.
And I feel like if they go with if it's more like Skyrim than Fallout, Skyrim only teased on the building elements by being able to like build and customize a house with the Hearthstone updates or whatever it was called. Yeah. Anyway, that shit was pretty cool, but it wasn't like the core mechanic of the game, kind of the way it is for No Man's Sky. So anyway, it would be cool to see a Space Skyrim in a way.
Yeah. That would be awesome. That would be dope.
No, it was a beautiful trailer. Another one that we really didn't get to see much from. And one that we got to see even less from. No. That's actually Contraband. But the next one that they announced was Back 4 Blood. The zombie game is a spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead, and it will release on October 12th and be available day one on Game Pass. And so, did you guys get to check out the Back 4 Blood trailer? How do you feel about a new zombie game?
I'm ready for that. We've been waiting for till this day.
Yeah. Back 4 Blood
Left 4 Dead sequel.
Yeah, no, it's hype that we're finally getting a Left 4 Dead sequel, and so and it's coming in October, so that's like right around the corner.
Man. They got co-op horde shooter right, like Left 4 Dead. Like they just did it right. Like it was like Left 4 Dead 1 and 2. They were so fun. So I'm like super excited to see what they do with this.
There's some serious memories that we have. Video games. Not going to go into all of those right now, but like I'm looking forward to making some new memories. With
yes.
Back 4 Blood game. It might be a little bit on your end for me, but it is what it is. I'm looking forward.
I think honestly, this genre of like the co-op zombie game, it's very slept on. Like, it's so much fun if you can get your friends to actually buy into it and play this game with you, because just the amount of crazy shit you can do with zombies, insane.
And especially considering like to be honest, like the zombie genre in general has really jumped the shark, so to speak. But I mean, I don't feel that way, because I just let their evidence sort of speak for itself, right? Like their last two. I mean, Evolve wasn't a zombie game, so we're not going to count. And also, by the way, Evolve was super slept on, but that's neither here nor there.
Evolve's that game was slept on. It was a lot of fun. Me and Dodd both played it back in the day, especially a lot. And so I'm sure as soon as he hears us say Evolve, he's going to go off in chat. So, but that wasn't it for Xbox. There was a lot more. Let's keep going. Contraband. Did you guys get to check out the Contraband studio or the little kind of, trailer? I guess in a way it was Avalanche Studios co-op Smuggler's Paradise set in a fictional world from 1970s Bayan. Bayan, or whatever, will be available on Game Pass day one, although the release date was not revealed. We got to see very little in this trailer. It was literally just kind of like still kind of game footage in a way of like somebody like welding on a car. We did get to see that it said a co-op, like it went past photos and it was like co-op open world. And so I thought that was pretty interesting, but Yeah, am I gonna get to live out my kind of Pablo Escobar fever dream in this game? Is
I think
that what it is?
so. Like I've heard everything from smuggling to heist, so this just looks like it's a yeah, it looks like it's a Michael Bay sort of fast and what's his name, Justin Lin fever dream, just a
Yeah.
video game for.
I'm hoping I get to move copious amounts of cocaine.
Dude, that's the dream. That and heist, like there's nothing like just doing a heist, like just hey man, let's go steal millions of dollars from this bank and plan it out and perfect and not so perfect execution. Things are gonna go crazy, but we'll improvise and have a nice story to tell if we survive it.
You're right. People are gonna, jump off of the back of motorcycles and not know how to deploy their parachute.
Yeah, we're not gonna go into that either. That was.
I just wanna run guns to Nicaragua. That's all I want to do. So
Son of a bitch, I'm in.
We can do that.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I think of anytime people bring up heist now is just that straight up like, you son of a bitch, I'm in. Like, Grand Theft Auto did a good job of scratching that itch for a little while, especially with all of their heist and everything. But you're right, a solid heist game, I think it's needed, especially in an open world co-op. Like, come on, like
Oh yeah.
Anyway, some of us get to play, fucking the cops or something. Like,
yeah.
Do I get to be 12? Because if so, let's go. Like, we're defending this bank, baby.
Yeah.
But one announcement that a lot of people in chat were going off of or on about early on was Sea of Thieves, man. A huge announcement trailer coming out of Sea of Thieves. And I know, Sax, you're probably going to have a lot to say about this one. But we got Jack Sparrow and Davy Jones are coming to Sea of Thieves with a free update titled A Pirate's Life on June 22nd. You can read more about the partnership between Disney and Rare came together, on IGN.com, which is where, I've pulled this from. But it's one of those things where this trailer was definitely, I mean, we even threw up our reaction trailer because I was watching this one live on stream. We did an E3 stream for about an hour and a half that day. But like, really, the one that I know we're the most excited for. Sax, how do you feel about Captain Jack Sparrow making his way to Sea of Thieves?
I'm super excited that he's there.
Yeah.
Second of all, about damn time, considering the fact that a whole ass pirate game that has been in existence since I don't know, 2018, something like that.
Yeah.
And you're talking about we're just now getting Captain Jack Sparrow. Man, get the out of here! I've been waiting for this for way too long.
Overdue.
But needless to say, I'm excited with the direction they're going. I'm excited for whatever storyline is going to come with it.
Yep.
It'd be really, really cool if you can have, I don't know if you can play as him in the game. I don't know if that's confirmed or not yet, but I would love to have a skin. You know what I'm saying? A real skin would be lit.
Or some Pirates of the Caribbean, just paraphernalia also within the game. Like if I could just get a better Captain Jack Sparrow dreadlock hair do kind of a thing, like my guy would look dope with that. Like, like you said, some skin stuff, all of that would be great. The biggest one is also bigger boats, man. That way we can get Kevin there. I can be in there, Dodd, all the people that play with us. Cause we have, I think we have enough to run 2 boats some nights. So it's pretty crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That'd be pretty cool.
Huge news, though. I know a lot of people. The internet exploded on that one because,
like, snaps to Disney, like these IPs that they're just handing out. Here you go. You use this, and you make a Guardians game, and you make an Avatar game, and throw Jack Sparrow in your game. Like, wow.
No, low key, Disney was definitely the kind of like underscore or the slip on winner of E3, if you will. They had a lot of announcements coming from a lot of Disney franchises, and so it's interesting that they're being a little bit more open with those things, and I'm excited though. It's really nice. I think someone said that the day after the Guardians of the Galaxy trailers come out, that studio was asked to put together ideas for Star Wars games. I don't know if that's real. That's kind of like just a little rumor I saw on Twitter, but that would be interesting because that whole look and feel of the who is it? Dude, what are their names? Square Enix. Those guys. How they do games, totally different than how most Star Wars games have been put together in the past. So
Square Enix makes great games too.
They do.
The Avengers game, it's like a miss, but you're not going to hit a home run all the time.
The Avengers game, they tried to do too much of a Bungie kind of, or not Bungie, but Destiny kind of like loot,
Yeah,
things. You got to do those right for people to like them.
Yeah.
And so, but that wasn't all we got. Battlefield 2042 had the internet on fire as well. After announcing the details on the 6th Battlefield game earlier this week, the first gameplay trailer was unveiled at this showcase. Battlefield 2042 will be released October 22nd, which that's coming up around the corner as well. And this game, dude, people were going fucking nuts about it. They actually had a really cool scene in this trailer that was from a trick shot that somebody had pulled off in an older Battlefield game. It's the whole jumping out of the jet and shooting it with a rocket thing. Like, that shit was sick. But what do you guys think about Battlefield 2042?
I'm excited to play a first-person shooter where if you camp, I can blow up where it is you're camping.
Yeah.
Yes, that's all. I saw I see Sag in the chat. Ole. That's a up to Battlefield 1 where it was like back in the day, like the Great War. So he was riding around on a horse, slaying with a sword, screaming "Hodele." I don't know why, but Battlefield 2042. I am so looking forward to a new Battlefield game, because I played COD, COD. It's like it's always going to be COD. You know what I mean? So Battlefield just brings something different. It brings something fresh. And I'm excited. I'm going to stream the hell out of that. So
that's gonna be fun.
No, it definitely will be. That's that announcement trailer alone is worth me checking it out. And I'm not a big war game kind of guy. Like I've never been a huge fan of Call of Duty, but I think the last one of these that I really enjoyed was a Battlefield game because they've always been really fun to play with friends. And so, but then we also had Fallout 76 news. Bethesda released a couple of pieces of news about the online RPG during the presentation. First, it showed a new trailer for its upcoming update, Still Reign, which continues the Brotherhoods of Steel storyline. Second, it revealed that players will be able to explore the Pit, a location introduced in Fallout 3, and a new exploration coming out next year. So, wow, it's honestly surprising to see Fallout 76 still holding on. I may play this game, guys. Like, I may dive in. Like, I'm not lying. Like, they're threatening me with a good time. They keep adding stories to it and shit, and that's what I'm for. Too. I love Fallout for stories. I didn't like 76 because of the idea that you basically were walking around alone.
Yeah,
now that they've been adding these new stories to it, I'm tempted.
It does intrigue me. I didn't play 76 because I heard bad things about it, so I was kind of scared. Mostly because it was buggy. I think it's just the game was broken at launch. But I've heard that like other things, as the world we live in, as is most games these days, they get better over time. Sometimes.
Sometimes. No, I can't. I have nothing to give for this one here. Like the last Fallout game I played was 3, and this is why I will never touch Fallout again. Is because I played 3 hours of Fallout 3, and at the end of 3 hours, I just got out of the damn vault, and I was like, "Wait, I've been playing this game all this time." And I'm now making it outside to the outside world to do stuff.
Hey,
consume my life. I have no time for this.
The beheading scene and the waking up on the carriage, it's a good hour to get Skyrim going. You know what I mean? You got to give it to them. Bethesda, they love to build up. No lie, especially they love a build up. You're like, Jesus Christ, it's been 2 hours and the prelude's over. Like, oh my God. Like,
I'm still a child.
I know,
Also fast.
By the time I made it out of the snow in Red Dead, I was like, holy fuck, it's been a day. Like, how long have I been playing this game?
That's true. That was a long prologue.
They need if you're listening, game developers, shorten the beginning.
Let's go. Give me the tutorial. And then we can get it.
It's foreplay, but like Batman says, let's get to fucking.
Yes.
Yes. But one of the big
That's
announcements
canon,
was
too.
definitely Halo Infinite. A lot of streamers have been saying that Halo Infinite isn't real. I don't know if you guys have seen this on Twitter. There's actually been a big movement. People don't believe it's real. But Microsoft didn't reveal too many details about the highly anticipated installment of the Halo series, other than confirming that it is still set to release in the holiday season this year, and showed us a glimpse of some of the multiplayer, which will also be free to download, by the way, guys, which is a kind of a game changer if you really think about it.
Oh yeah, it is free to play. That's right. That's crazy.
Yeah, the Halo 3 or Halo Infinite, I don't know what fucking number it is, but Halo Infinite's multiplayer completely free to play. So we're gonna have people. I'm definitely playing the story. I love Halo's story. Always been a huge fan of it. So I'm excited to see where the story goes here. We did get a little glimpse of the new Cortana, whoever the fuck that is. This trailer by far looked way better than that shit they showed us 2 years ago, whenever the fuck we had the last E3. When we got that like janky ass whatever that was, Brute, I think. But anyway, what did you guys think of the Halo Infinite kind of announcement and the free multiplayer announcement?
I'm here for it. Like you know what I like about Halo is that they know who they are. Like they don't, like, I don't know if you noticed, the only thing they added, looks like, to the mechanics was the sprint function, the sprint button. But you still can't ADS, which I would kind of like. I'm like, you know what? Let's get rid of ADS on some of these shooters. Let's see. Let's test your aim. You know, let's.
True.
You know,
because they've definitely evolved Halo just a little bit over time. I mean, they did in Halo 4 or whatever it was, I think, come out with where you could have like a shield, or you could do sprint, or you could do something, but they really don't change up Halo too much. And I think that's good though. Like the multiplayer has always been fun to me. When the Master Chief Collection came out on PC, I ran that shit heavy. So
yeah, it's I'm like SAG Gaming and myself are currently going through them for for YouTube. So especially since we know that this one is coming out soon, we've got a lot of work to do. Getting all the content we need to keep going, but I'm super excited for Halo Infinite. I haven't played Halo matchmaking competitively in such a long time.
So much fun, man.
Kevin and I, we used to. Oh God, Halo 3 Zombies. Oh,
that was
so much fun.
That was so fun.
We literally made a game mode.
We made the best zombie game ever.
We did. It was like we went made one called Boom Smack Ride, where we ride on a mongoose and smack you with a rat.
The custom games and those always so much fun. And that's actually one of the cool things, because they did incorporate some of the custom game modes. They did kind of like a house rules where because there is a zombies, there is a SWAT and all that, but it's not like I mean, you can still change it up, but like at the same time, like they just have kind of a base kind of setting, But like those are always were some of the most fun shit that I did in Halo 3, Halo 2 was playing like just random ass like, multiplayer games that people threw together. They were like, "Oh, we're doing zombies." And I'm like, "What the fuck does that mean?" I remember the first time I got to a party and somebody was like, "Oh yeah, we're doing zombies." And I'm like, this game doesn't have zombies. Like, what are you talking about? And like, then how it was explained, I'm like, let's go.
Right.
But and Xbox also had the Outer Worlds 2 announcement, this showcase announcement, the name of the sequel, and a brief glimpse in this announcement trailer. So we really didn't get a lot there. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier. Have either of you guys got a chance to check out the Outer Worlds 1 or played the first one? Or are you excited for Outer Worlds 2?
I am. I haven't finished the first Outer Worlds, but I played it and then was very much enjoying it. And I think something else came out that kind of distracted me from it. But I love the trailer. We were like, Sax was talking about it, in our green room, so to speak, about the sort of irreverent tone of the trailer, where it's like they basically made a cliche trailer for every action video game, and then just narrated it as such.
It was hella entertaining to watch. But as far as me being involved in this game, I have never. It wasn't until this E3 that I even heard of Outer Worlds. So I have nothing to give except for this trailer was hella entertaining, and I'm looking forward to see what the actual gameplay is going to be.
Same. And then finally, in Xbox's big showcase, we got a cool fucking vampire open world looking thing with Redfall. The open world co-op first-person shooter from Arcane Austin will launch on the Xbox Series X and S and PC, because all of it launches on PC, baby, next summer, and be available on day one from Game Pass. So that was one of the big ones that they ended with, the Xbox kind of showcase, and I thought it was a strong one to end with, given, and Xbox really had a strong showing overall in this E3. Not to continue to stroke the Xbox cock, but I mean, Daddy Gates delivered. There was a lot of really cool things from Xbox this year, and this vampire RPG or whatever the fuck it is was definitely one of them. Did you guys check out the trailer for Redfall?
This looks fantastic.
Yeah.
It does. It looks really good.
Yeah, it looks so good. Everyone thought it was. I remember I read an article on IGN where everyone, when they announced it 2 years ago, the last E3, everyone thought it was Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah.
So I mean, if it's got that kind of hype and that kind of sort of production behind it, and then just the sort of premise and the features of what they're trying to do with this could be fucking fantastic, and it's co-op.
And it's co-op, most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to run around with powers and taking on vampires, taking on the creatures of the night that want your blood. It was like the trailer. Looking at it, I was hyped. I watched a robot dog body a vampire into a store. I watched this chick get snatched up, caught the steak as it was flying towards her face, and I was like, "Oh, they about business." You know what I mean? It's looks like it's going to be intense. It looks like it's going to be a good time. It looks like it's going to be a lot of screaming and swearing. I just feel like it's going to happen.
I think that was the last trailer they showed too, right, at the Xbox press conference.
Mm-hmm.
Which
I believe,
usually,
I don't know,
to me, indicates that it's something fire.
That is exactly what I was gonna say, is that they ended the showcase with this one, so that typically means this is something we think we can definitely hang our hat on. So but it doesn't come out until next summer, so we got about a full year of some hype, right, to get to it. Fine. But definitely excited for more vampire shit. Love vampire games.
Yes, there aren't enough of them. If any.
Yeah, it's one of the cool things in Skyrim, honestly, is becoming a vampire or a werewolf. That was one of the fun parts. So, well, anyway, that'll wrap it up for the Xbox and Bethesda showcase. I'm going to go through some of the Nintendo stuff. That way, because they had a big chunk, but Nintendo...
E3 massive.
Yeah, E3 was massive. The stream kicked off with Kazuya Mishima, wait. Sax, how do I say it?
It's Kazuya Mishima.
Boom, nailed it. From Tekken.
There you go.
Universe is joining the ranks of Smash Bros. That trailer, or that DLC kind of announcement, super funny. Did you guys see it with Kirby when he threw Kirby? Kirby
so
Kirby just flies back and excuse me.
You thought.
Because I was like, Kazuya is not destroying Kirby. That's not happening.
He straight up came back. That shit was so funny. That was a great announcement. And so it's good to see them still adding characters to Smash. I need to catch up. I've got to unlock some of these guys, and got to get some of these DLC characters. I don't even think I have every character unlocked on my current Switch. So, geez, very far behind.
I'm almost there. I've been grinding on it.
Yeah, I need a Switch. Damn it.
Yes, you do. Nintendo also announced Life is Strange Remastered Collection. The Life is Strange True Color is coming to Nintendo Switch. And then the Worms 2D Brawler is coming to Nintendo.
Wow.
And so that's honestly going to be an interesting one. And as far as 2D brawlers making a comeback is always, something I'm here for. So, Then we got a look at Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania was announced, and we talked about that one a little bit before the show. Super Monkey Ball it's definitely an ode to my childhood. Those games were so much fun, and to see them coming out with a new one, and especially it's coming October 5th, so right around the corner. That's going to be a lot of fun to play.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And Mario Party Superstars is taking the
Yeah.
party online, where you'll be able to
Ooh.
play with random online users.
Damn.
And the game releases October 29th. So we're getting a new Mario Party, and it's going to be online from day one, which I think is a lot of fun. Getting to play randoms in Mario Party, so you don't have to ruin your own friendships.
Yeah.
But I'm still trying to ruin my friendships.
Oh no, we'll still ruin them. We're still ruining friendships.
Just from afar. Just from afar.
Yeah, right. Not right next to you though.
Yeah.
But then Nintendo dropped a huge surprise, and chat was literally going ham about this one earlier. But Metroid Dread, a game that will take place after Metroid Fusion and is coming back, or going to be bringing back a 2D platformer. The game is officially the 5th Metroid game, and it releases October 8th. So it's right around the corner as well this fall. But oh my God, guys, a new Metroid game. Talk about some hype. Yeah. Everybody's excited about it.
It's about, you know what? I was like, I wasn't sure how to feel about it, because it's a kind of like a 2D, side scroller, but
yeah.
I think it could be pretty lit. Like, that's OG Metroid anyway.
Exactly.
So the fact we're getting a Metroid game, I'm happy. It's long overdue.
Honestly, these 2D kind of like platformer or scrolling games, like some of them have looked really good. Like they've been able to do like some really great graphics with them. And like you said, they're great. Like Hollow Knight, so much fun.
Yeah. Ori and the Blind Forest.
Yeah, that one got a lot of hype because I never got to play it, but it definitely looked beautiful, and heard the story is awesome too. So
yeah, it's great.
But yeah, so Metroid Dread, huge news, and then the huger news: Mario Golf Super Rush. Gave us another look at gameplay and game modes, and Nintendo also announced free updates that will include new characters and courses that will come post-launch. So, super hype out there for all of you Mario Golf Super Rush fans. I know I am I love Mario Golf. I love any Mario sports game. Give it to me. I'm gonna play it.
Yeah,
it's such
Mario Tennis. They need a Mario wrestling. I guess that's Super Smash Brothers.
That's Smash.
Smash.
But that's not it from Nintendo. Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin, showed off more footage and gameplay. So a lot of players, don't forget to check out the free demo that will release June 25th. So a lot of people I know are excited for new Monster Hunter stuff to come to Switch. Then we get WarioWare. Get It Together marks the triumphant return of WarioWare games, and this time it's 2-player. The game is supposed to launch September 10th, so go ahead and get super fucking stoked for that. I know I am. Wario games, so besides the fact that Waluigi doesn't get no respect and that man needs his own game ASAP, I like to see Wario get his dessert as well. Like I like to see him get his due. Like
Waluigi's Trap House. That's what
Waluigi's Trap House.
Yes.
Mario Left 4 Dead. Mario Zombie Island.
Those would be
great.
Zombie Island sounds kind of
Oh, dude, I would play Mario Zombie Island. That would be a lot of fun. But rounding out Nintendo Showcase and sticking with the idea of saving the best for last, we got to look at the Breath of the Wild sequel with floating islands, enemy platforms on the back of rock monsters, new tablet tools, and confirmed its 2022 release date. So everybody can go ahead and jizz your pants. We're getting a Breath of the Wild sequel, guys.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I know. I'm super excited. I know Braun's not on the show, but she's a fellow, Breath of the Wild enthusiast. And Kev,
head.
A fellow Zelda head, as I guess we're called now.
Yeah. I don't know.
But no, are you guys excited about the Breath of the Wild sequel?
God,
I know I am.
Yes. Oh my God. I still have to finish the first one.
Yeah. Definitely finish the first one.
I'm like savoring it. That's what's taking me so long. I do that with like RPGs, like the game. Like I'm still on the first Mass Effect in the Legendary Edition. So,
oh, dude, I savored each one of those Mass Effect games, and I don't want to go on a whole tangent, but I 100% at each one because I wanted to get every option at the ending. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like as far as like for the third one, and so. Not to give off too much, but like the first one, you can honestly fuck that game up pretty quickly because it's really not that long. And the whatever, the second one's beefy. The second one's a beefy game. They had a good bit of DLC on that bad boy.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress.
I'm ready for Breath of the Wild too.
Yeah, same. What about Sax? You said earlier you still got to get a Switch. Did you ever get to play Breath of the Wild on a Wii or anything like that? Or
I got to play it one time never, and it was fantastic. The time I never played.
oh man, it's really good, really good,
But
top tier quality.
Good stuff, you know what I mean, and heard nothing but good. And I'm a fan of Zelda, so it's in a Link, so I'm definitely down. When I get it, that's going to be one of the priorities. Like it's like behind Smash Bros. Like immediately next.
Oh man, well, guys, we are almost done with our giant E3 showcase here, but the last big ones that kind of presented was Square Enix, and they presented a doozy. They said summer 2021 was Pack Jam show, and it drove headfirst into it with a new Marvel game, Guardians of the Galaxy. And this isn't some big update for Marvel's Avengers, but rather a completely new game featuring a whole cast, including Peter, Quill, Drax, Gamora, Rocket Raccoon, and Groot. This game is supposed to be a story-driven kind of like RPG style game. So I'm actually super excited for it because I think they learned from their mistakes with the Avengers game, and they may be picking up the pieces here. It looks like you kind of get to play as each character. But did you guys get to check out the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer? And what are you thinking about it?
I definitely got a chance to take a look at it, and I think you only get to play as Peter Quill. You only get to be Star-Lord, but you get to make decisions for everybody. Yeah. And you can use everybody in combat like as a special move or something like
kind
that.
Of special moves, yeah.
Like something like that. And it's considering the fact that Square Enix's showcase was like 75% just this game.
It was.
Like, it really was. Because I'm like, I watched the showcase and I'm like, yeah, then I went away and I came back and like 20 minutes had passed and it's still talking about this. I'm like, how much time is left in the showcase? There's like 5 minutes left. And I'm like, wow.
This was the meat. They were definitely
Square Enix wanted, but it looks really good.
It's a pretty looking game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. Like I said, I watched E3 late, so I was seeing a bunch of images and stuff with like Peter Quill and the whole Guardians of the Galaxy. I was like, oh, they added him to Avengers, and I was like, oh no, they didn't. It's its own game. So
it's this all new thing, which I think like fuck yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy is awesome. That's an awesome franchise in general, and so the fact that they kind of went with that as one of their first adventure style games, I'm definitely gonna play this one. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But they also showed off Life is Strange Remastered Collection. We got a longer look at the game's enhanced graphics and got a September 25th release date for that one. So, and then Life is Strange True Colors will launch September 10th. Got that as well. Life is Strange, huge fan base. I've never really played any of them, but definitely know a lot of folks have. Have either of you dove into Life is Strange?
I have not myself.
I have not. I'm familiar with it, but I haven't played it myself.
No, but the remastered collections are hot right now, and some of the power that these systems have. I mean, why not? Bring back some of those favorites. But lastly, Team Ninja showed off Stranger of Paradise, a Final Fantasy origin, as its retelling of Final Fantasy 1 with Souls-like action combat. Aside from some overly aggressive dialogue, the game looks like it'll offer fantastically smooth combat on your quest to kill chaos with your 2 other prophesized warriors of light. Did you guys get a chance to check out this new Final Fantasy spinoff, and what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think that
Souls like Final Fantasy. Jesus. That sounds awful.
It does kind of sound awful. It sounds like Sekiro.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Oh man,
it does
Sorry
look
about that.
I know it's okay. Stream that again and for hours watch me get my ass handed to me. But no, the game looks really really good. It makes me think. I was talking about this pre-show in our green room. I was talking about it looking a lot like and feeling a lot like, at least from the trailer, Ninja Gaiden, and it's from Team Ninja, so it's the same folks. So like it makes sense, and it looks like it's going to be pretty lit. So like I'm down to give her a spin just to see what it's talking about.
Yeah, same. I mean, honestly, any game that's I mean, I'm not a huge Souls fan, so I can't say that that's why I would dive into it. But honestly, I mean, I need to start trying to get harder games. I play. I like to be God when I play video games, so I don't play anything that challenges me too much. I don't like that. I use that as an
That's fair.
escape. Life is a challenge. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I
that's
don't.
true. That's true. That's fair.
Facts.
That is
I don't need to
very
get on a
fair.
video game and be like, "Why is this so hard?" You know.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. You're
I'm
not
just
wrong.
saying. It's like
Yeah.
I always overpower my characters in RPGs before I go to the main story. Like I'm like side quest, yes please, give me all
do
of them.
too.
Like I'm gonna do
Yeah.
them all.
Yeah.
So, but guys, that kind of wraps up a lot of our E3 coverage. I know that was a long one, guys. I mean, it was honestly a beefy E3 this year. We wanted to give you guys as much info from it as we could, and that still wasn't everything. There was still more from E3 this year.
Yeah.
But before we go into a break or anything like that, do you guys have any big like favorite moments, any trailers that really stuck out to you, anything that you're super excited for? What do you think won E3 this year? And Kev, we'll start with you.
I think Microsoft won E3. If like the amount of if we're just talking about like how you win that, yeah. I mean, it's the exclusives and it's Game Pass, right? Like all those games are coming to Game Pass.
Yep.
They're a lot. Bethesda is a behemoth of a developer and publisher, and it looks like a lot of their stuff is coming to, the Xbox. I wanted to say Nintendo's a close second. The only thing is, I think Nintendo had maybe like one or two bombs that just like, oh damn, like Breath of the Wild and I guess Metroid. But like I felt like Microsoft was just like bam, bam, bam. This is
Extreme Greatness, I think, nailed it by saying the players won E3.
That's true.
Lana said Disney, which is fact as well. Disney did well. What about you, Sax? Who do you think really showed out?
I'm gonna have to agree with Kev there. It's for me, it's Xbox Bethesda. They did really well. I'm excited for the new IPs, Starfield, that coming out. I'm excited for Back 4 Blood. I'm excited, really excited for Sea of Thieves, Battlefield 2042. Like I'm not gonna name all these things, you know what I mean? But it's they had a lot more to offer, you know what I mean? And Nintendo definitely came in second, and it was a close second. But I feel like, and especially since I don't have a Switch, it's Xbox is calling to me. And 27 of 30 of the games they showed are on Game Pass. Day one. Excuse me?
It's crazy. Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy. Game Pass is really starting to look very good. And which honestly,
fantastic.
As a PC Master Race guy, I still get all the games too. So like, it's been awesome. I love it. Keep up the exclusives, Xbox. But what did you guys? I mean, speaking of, with Xbox kind of like definitely kind of coming in laying the people's elbows down this year, what did you think of the idea from Sony to skip it completely?
I'll let you go, Sax. I remember you said you had something for that.
Let's start with Sax. What's your idea? Or what do you think about Sony skipping this year's E3?
I feel two ways about it. The first way I feel about it is Sony has something in the chamber that they're going to wait to either do on their own or they're going to do a Gamescom, which is going to be the next like out of control and last convention if they have a Gamescom this year. Which wouldn't be bad, you know what I'm saying? Just keep it tucked until you need to let it go. You know what I'm saying? But on the other side, the second way I feel about it is not such a good move on Sony's part, because you literally have the biggest gaming expo at your fingertips.
Which we didn't have it last year.
You know what I'm saying? And correct. And we did not have it in 2020 at your fingertips, and you choose not to show up for the party.
Very bizarre.
Been a part of it, and that's
very weird.
Hard. You know what I'm saying? It's as a I'm not a Sony fanboy. You know what I'm saying? I just like video games, and if I had a PlayStation, I'd be like, sweet, I have a PlayStation and an Xbox and a PC. And when I get one Switch, I mean a Switch, you know what I'm saying? Like it is what it is. But like it's really bad. Like if I'm a Sony fanboy, I'm like kind of concerned, because it's like what is Sony talking about doing? So I don't think it's such a good look on their part to not be a part of E3.
Yeah, it was bizarre. Kev,
especially since Yeah, well,
Any
especially
thoughts?
since the console's been out now for about what 7, 8 months,
Yeah.
and there's like there hasn't been a new game that's come out. I mean, there hasn't been a new game that's
I
really
think they
come out
may
for
have
any of
skipped it
us.
because they don't have anything.
Yeah, well, that's the other concerning part, like
Yeah.
because Sony's like been like, as we're talking about exclusives and IP, Sony's been like the king of that for years. It's definitely this past generation
Yeah.
versus the PS4 and Xbox One. But no, you're right, Dad. The PS5 is the number. It's always going to be the number one selling console because
For sure.
PlayStation's made in Japan, right? Like Microsoft only kills the American market.
Yeah.
That's really it. Maybe like
And
Western
even
Europe.
then,
But
PlayStation has a lot of loyalty just overall.
yeah,
And I think on a
yeah.
global scale, PlayStation's always going to beat out Microsoft. But I mean, Microsoft, if you're adding in the PC elements, definitely right up there. And so that's why the
If we're
console
looking
wars-
at the whole picture, and I don't do the console wars thing. I'm like sex here. I'll play it all. I don't care. Like, and at this point,
I'm getting a PlayStation as soon as I can.
Right.
Like, just to be
well,
clear,
yeah, as soon as anyone
because-
can, really.
Yeah, as soon as I can. I'm not gonna buy some
Yeah.
fucking bundle or some
Yeah.
outrageous shit, but as soon as I
Yeah.
can get one, I'm getting one. So
Yeah,
just
but,
because
I
there
think,
was, I mean, even without E3, there's still been some decent titles announced for it. So
yeah, but that's weird. Like they didn't have anything. I'm curious to see as to their decision why. Like it's interesting.
no, it is.
Even Nintendo was there. Usually Nintendo's like kind of flaky at E3 sometimes, right? Like Nintendo was the first one to like not hold live conferences anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was a little bizarre. I think overall, just kind of as this is the biggest kind of showcase for marketing, especially after taking a year off. And I mean, a lot of people were watching. I was on Twitch, just one of the hundreds of thousands that were tuning in live to E3 this year, and so it was an interesting move by Sony, which I guess kind of brings up a big one. But do you guys think E3 is still relevant?
Yes, I do. I think, especially after the pandemic, I think there's going to be more of a need to like be out in the world, experience these things, right? Like I would have loved to have been at E3 this year, any year really, but this year especially. And I think it's relevant in the sense that people like celebrations, and E3 is really, it's not necessarily like a launch fest or an announcement con. It is, but I think it's more of like a celebration of video games. Like ultimately, that's what it is. You get hyped up. Some of the game that you see announced aren't even going to come out. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
and if they do come
especially
out,
now
it's
with
not
COVID.
going to.
They're going to blame it on that.
Yeah, and if they do come out, they're not going to be like as what they had appeared to be at E3. But every year, I still feel like a fucking kid on Christmas. I'm like, oh my God, I'm watching the countdown. I'm ready for fucking Phil Spencer to come out here in his t-shirt roulette, and like.
Let's dive in.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say E3 is not only is it still relevant, it's very important, especially given 2020 and everything, because one of the ways that people stayed sane and in communication is through gaming. And E3, it was like how Kevin said, it was like Christmas. It's like it's the new year. You know what I mean?
Yes,
for
the new season.
So it's like, oh God, what's E3 all about? What we doing? What we talking about? You're like it's and I see Bruce Bain in here as like but like it used to be a holiday. I mean, and for me, it still is that like 1,000%. Like I'm very excited to see what comes up, and I think it's relevant because video games still exist. So as long as video games exist, E3 will be relevant, regardless of the level of attendance or not. It's still going to sell out. People are still going to watch it to capacity and then some. People are still going to do everything and get ready for E3. And I'm going to tell you right now, 2022 E3, I want to be in the audience, if not on the stage, doing something.
I think it gets bigger.
No, I think so too. And if you need evidence of that, go like my Twitter timeline. And granted, I follow a lot of people in the industry. It's just littered with things from E3. Go to like any of the like big game covered like news outlets, IGN, Polygon, those guys. It's still their top stories are all E3.
Oh yeah,
Right.
that's why we had to pack it all in one.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a week.
It has been a long one. And so that's going to bring it honestly to about midway. Like we still got the deep dive coming up. We've still got the tops in. So definitely stay with us. But we're actually going to take a quick break. But before we do that, I want to give us a quick shout out to Savage Patch Kid for resubscribing. That's awesome. Thank you, Dodd, for the raid. Came in with some viewers for us. Thank you, Lana, for the sub. Awesome. Thank you, Michael Sunday, for the follow. Junior Hollywood for the follow. Derek McGowan for the follow. Wow. I mean, like, guys, honestly, too much. We're not that great. Thank you guys so much. But that'll wrap it up for the first half of the show. But don't go anywhere. When you come back, we are going to have this week's deep dive on the pros and cons of cons. And then we're going to give you the top 5 best and the top 5 worst moments in E3 history. So stick around. We've got a lot of show coming up. Like I said, it's just going to be a quick 5. Smoke them if you got them. We'll be right back.
Be right back.
Wait, did it start back? Oh, there it is. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back to Geek Life. We are kicking off the second half of the show here. And this is a segment we like to call our deep dive. We dive deep each week. If this is your first week here, welcome. If you're coming back, then
get your wetsuit ready.
Yeah, get your wetsuit ready. Because we're diving deep. We're doing what Batman wouldn't do. No, we're going deep, guys. But this week we are talking about the pros and cons of cons. Cons have been, a huge part of nerd culture over the years. They're a great way to connect and to meet other like-minded individuals, usually in a place that's far away from judgment, because everybody involved in the convention usually wants to be there, and they're okay with you being a fucking loser because they're all losers too. So from cosplay to gaming, cons are all the rage. Before the pandemic, especially, they were, getting bigger and bigger each year, with some becoming more and more exclusive every year. Comic-Con. But anyway, the key word being here before. Now the world is opening again, and we've seen a return of one of the world's biggest conventions, E3. So tonight we just wanted to talk about cons, the pros and, cons of cons. And we'll start with an existential question. Guys, what's the point of cons? Like, what's the point? And we'll start with Kev. What's the whole point?
The point, Jake, is it's to gather with like-minded individuals. It's a community. It's community outreach. Well, okay, that's a stretch. No, it's a time and place for everyone who has a passion about, whatever. And there's cons for everything. I'm sure there's a con for like postage stamps, right? Like this, it's for you to gather and meet people like yourself and talk about your passions and your hobbies and your collections and what's on the horizon, what you do in the past and what's coming for you in the future, And with E3 specifically, like for me, I think it's like a celebration of video games. That's what I think a con is. It's a celebration of that medium or whatever it is the con is for.
What about you, Sex? Anything to add to?
Yes, is a convention of sorts. The con is, but no, it's it's a time where everyone can get together and appreciate something that they have a shared interest in. And it's good to have that, so you don't feel like you're the only weirdo. You feel what I'm saying? If you have, like you were talking about postage stamp collections, I had a doctor that I worked for who 100% collected postage stamps and went to different conventions for postage stamps.
There you go. See?
So damn it, if you could have a postage stamps convention, if you can have a car club, if you can have a book club, if it's tea time, god damn it, we can have conventions for video games and anime and shit. And
I think what's interesting about them too, and you kind of bring it up, is that there's a convention for everybody. I've been to tech conventions for startups and shit like that, and like while it may not be the same as people cosplaying, it's people walking around pretending to be something they're not, and so like, which is usually successful because it's a bunch of startups that really haven't raised any money and they're just trying to tell people about the shit they're doing, and so like those are always like a lot of fun. And I agree with you, both of you. I think it's about the camaraderie, right? Like that's kind of one of the big points of conventions, and I think they give us the camaraderie, and we give them, an outlet for their advertising. Because it's usually something's being sold, right?
Oh,
And so,
for sure. So everything's some, yeah. Mm-hmm.
in capitalist America, con sells you.
Pretty much.
Extreme Greatness says, "I love Lucy cons."
Oh yeah,
Boy, that's a that's an eclectic bunch. Those people, those Lucy cons, man. I don't know if you ever been to one, Jake. It's wild. I went to one in I think in San Obispo. Yeah, it was crazy, man. I went as Ricky. Anyway.
I've never seen a I Love Lucy con, but I do think they definitely exist. I know they exist. As a matter of fact, was it Rat Race? There's a movie where they take a bus that was a bunch of people or a bunch of ladies heading to an I Love Lucy con. Anyway, I'll have to look that up. Jamie, pull that up.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, never mind. We don't have a Jamie. So anyway, we talked a lot about COVID on this show. All the things that have been canceled, pushed back, and now that E3's back, do you guys think that COVID or that cons can make a comeback, or did COVID kill the con? Sax.
I 100% don't believe COVID killed the con at all.
It was Rat Race. Nice. Okay. Nailed that.
I love that.
I love confirmation.
That you got that closure.
Yeah, I had to get it. I needed to know.
But to answer your question, absolutely not. COVID's not gonna get rid of cons, man. It's something that's too ingrained in the culture that we know now. I mean, you're talking about a worldwide pandemic that canceled it for literally 1 year, and now we're back. Now, although it be different, but it's still here. You feel what I'm saying? Like, even though they've moved to a digital, media versus, person, like it's still around, and it's still going to be a thing. People are going to try it and make it work. Somebody is going to stream on Twitch or on TikTok or on OnlyFans, and I say that jokingly, but not joking. OnlyFans thing about something convention witty or convention wise. I mean, I absolutely would. So, like, yeah, I think so.
Right. And Jake, as you know, the marketing department's got to spend that budget, baby. So, nothing like an advertising budget for a con.
That is one of the biggest ones that I think a lot of people probably don't know or think about, is that if you've worked at, big corp or anything like that, or been even, at tech, places that go to conventions or big things like these, that set up booths and all that shit, right? That's already baked into many of these marketing departments' budgets. Bethesda already had, a booth baked in for 2021 and or 2020 even, and didn't get to go, right? Like to all of them. And so a lot of that budget probably rolled over or went to some other expenses. If I know tech, they probably spent it somewhere. But anyway, a lot of them, like, they still have that baked in for their budgets of next year and the next year and all of that shit. And so, like, that's one of the things that I think will keep conventions going, is that a lot of the creators are still going to be going to them because they've already got the budgets baked in, and people are kind of like, people are going to go because, like we were talking about, if there's something to flock to and to go to that has, things that you enjoy about it, you're going to go to it and you're going to do it. And so I think Extreme Greatness said cons are too big, and it's almost like the fucking, they are. They're kind of like banks. A lot of them are almost too big to fail. They're going to be back. And so, but I think it's interesting on how they'll be back. Like, do you think that they'll still be cosplay girls there having, like, guys who haven't showered in a few days asking for side hugs? You know what I mean? Like,
I think that's always going to be there, but I think it's going to become more eclectic as time goes on, right? Because as we know, like video games, I'm just using this as example. There's cons for everything, but this is just the arena I know of. Video games and comic books and stuff, it's become more ubiquitous, right? So it's not just, it's like there's no such thing as a closet nerd anymore. Like that's just not a thing, like you either like it or you don't, and there's not really, like, the nerd label it's not taboo. So I think you're gonna see more and more people there. That's why I think, like, especially, like, I mean, it might look different. Some of it might be more virtual, just out of who knows what the next pandemic or who knows what the future holds. But as far as, like, them shrinking down the side, I agree with Sax. I think they'll look probably a little bit different, but I think they'll be just as impactful.
Facts. What about you, Sex?
Well, as far as like wanting to see them come back, uh, yeah, it, it needs to be a thing. Um, because I selfishly can speak for my own self. I need it for
Yeah. I think we all need to go outside again. So
Yeah.
I need to be able to go, and I have not had the pleasure of ever being in one in person, so I'm definitely trying to do that.
Yeah, same. I've always wanted to go to Comic-Con, E3, one of the big ones, like at least try to get to one. So that's going to be definitely a big goal over the next couple of years. But if cons, speaking of the dreaded side hug, the guys who haven't showered, the crazy amount of, even as little as Nelly said, the sexualization of minors, all the bad things that are definitely cons of cons. But if they're back and they're here to stay, what do you guys want to see come back, and what would you like to see kind of left behind? And Kev, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I think I want to see the crowd come back. Yeah, raves. I want to see like that experience, like just I think what made cons great, and I think I can understand what Dodd was saying a little bit earlier, where it's like E3 doesn't feel like it hits the same. I think where he's getting at is that there was a point in time where E3 made itself only exclusive to the public. I'm sorry, to the press. Like you couldn't get into E3 unless like you knew somebody within like the game industry. Like it wasn't that hard, honestly, but it wasn't like open to the public. Hell, you get an E3 pass working at GameStop, like
because you're in the industry. GameStop
right,
tried to tell people you get an industry game, or you get a gaming industry job.
Yeah, no, for real. So I think it's just I think what I want to see is that energy that, and again, it's hard to sort of say that because we haven't had like obviously circumstances that couldn't happen, but I think I would like to see that back, right? Like that's like the best part of E3 is when you see the trailer drop or right before the trailer drop and it'll be like a name of something or like or like the silhouette of a character and the crowd just loses their mind, and you feel that too. I think that's what I want to see come back. What we can leave behind. I want to leave behind. I'm just gonna focus on the structure of cons. I want to leave behind the idea that or I want to say the lack of uniformity. What I mean by that is like all these companies doing their own thing, like Nintendo and EA having their own conference, like or their own like showcase, like a day before E3 or a day, or Sony missing it completely. Like stop doing that. Like stop. Why you got to ruin the fun? Like just
join in, be a part of
join
it.
in, yeah, be a part of it. Like that. That's what I want to see left behind. This sort of siloed approach of everything. Because I really think I do think that part has changed a lot as far as E3 is concerned.
Yeah, a lot of places want to do their own thing. I mean, I get it. Everybody wants to do their own thing. But like we were saying, join in the fun. That's part of it, is getting to see everyone showcased together so that you can see, you can weigh it with your friends. Like who won? Who did this? Who did, who was the best? Who was the worst? So, but what about you, Sax? What do you want to see making a comeback? What do you want to see left behind when it comes to cons?
As far as what I want to see come back is kind of like what Kev was talking about. Is just the excitement, like the in-person live, out of control, like just excitement of what's to come in the way of video games. I'll never forget in 2015 when Sony dropped the music for Shenmue, and when I tell you, the second installment of that game came out in 2001. So you're talking about, this is 14 years later, and then I had wrote off Shenmue, and I'm like, we're never gonna get a third one. I'm sad face, whatever, blah blah blah. I heard 2 seconds of the song, and I had not heard that song in easily a decade, and I immediately was like, oh my god, what is this? You know what I mean? I miss those moments. I miss that, like, oh, this is actually coming back. Like, oh, this is really going to go down. Oh, I can't wait for this to come out. Oh, I can't wait to get team killed by my friends in this game. Oh, like, I can't wait. Like all of that stuff I needed to come back because it is what makes it fun. So, and to piggyback off of what I want left behind is that exact same thing, the separation. Like it is the Electronic Entertainment Expo. If you do electronic entertainment, you need to be at the expo. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? You just do what you're supposed to do. I remember a time at E3 where Dreamcast, PlayStation, and all of these things, Nintendo were all lined up next to each other.
Yeah.
They weren't in separate places.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like they somewhere along the line they turn into Bloods and Crips. You feel what I'm saying? You know, that's not what this is about. You know what I mean? It's like, and people, oh man, and I swear to God, it comes from the PlayStation fanboy community. Like we're better. We got this, we got that, and it's like, bro, I don't get caught up in that nonsense. I like video games.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Same.
It's like, it's what it is. It's like if I got a PlayStation, I'm gonna play it. If I got an Xbox, I'm gonna play it. You know what I'm saying? And so like you can miss me with the, I'm this, I'm that. You know what I'm saying? You know, in the segregation, if you will. But it's not like I'm not gonna see a PlayStation fanboy on site and run his fade. You feel what I'm saying? Like that's not gonna happen. It's gonna, it's gonna be like, yo, how was your convention? It was this.
Exactly.
It was than yours.
You know, and if you did talk shit, it was the little things. Like I remember, like with the Halo 2 or Halo 3 showcase, like one of those just being like, "Oh boy, did you see that shit? You ain't got that shit." You know what I mean? Like you know, like you don't have Master Chief, baby. You know, like it's
right.
Because the Xbox has always tried to show out, and I think that was always that was part of it though, is the fun competition, right? Like you know, oh, who's gonna win it this year? You know, like and things like that. And so I think like that's the biggest things that I missed from not having E3 last year and not having a lot of conventions. Is and Nelly brought up a good point too, is the secret meeting rooms. That's a good one that like we all kind of like don't talk about, is like we got to see clips from trailers for shit that like never, you know, like wasn't coming out until next year. Like they would show like, I think we even saw some of the Justice League stuff way early at a con, you know, like kind of a thing. Like announcements like Invader Zim is coming back, things like that. Like our backroom kind of like these little like side meeting things that people hear and then leak and they get all over the internet, or, you know, like there's a lot of the ones where they will even be like, there's no recording in here, but of course like people fucking record, right? And then like, you know, then the trailer drops and we're like, oh shit. Like it's the anticipation, you know. I think that's the biggest part of cons that I enjoy anyway, is that it's basically saying like, here's what you can look forward to coming in the next couple of months, you know, over the next year. And like, you know, you guys, you may even forget about it by the time it comes out, unless we do the marketing right. And, you know, but like if it's something that, you know, like comes out right and they build it up the right way, like it all pays off in the end. And I think, you know, biggest thing that I would like to see left behind personally is just I think just people need to be more chill. The whole like I think like people take them too seriously, and some folks definitely take everything a little just too serious in general. And so like I like it the early 2000s feel of cons, and I think that's when Dodd said they really hit their peak. And I think that may be true because they were so interactive, so fun. We had the creeps, but at the same time, I think the funness outweighed the creepiness of people. You know what I mean? Like, and so you're always going to have some guy that doesn't take a shower. Unfortunately, that's just how gaming works. Like, there's just nothing we can do about it.
There's always that one person.
Exactly. Yeah. But last up, guys, how do you think cons operate going forward? Do you see any major changes on the horizon, or do you think we will eventually get back to where we were in the before times? And Sax, we'll start with you this time.
I feel like cons are going to operate a little bit differently than they did in the past, simply because of where we are. And it's going to be probably a lot of in person, but there's going to be also a lot of, you know, like what we're doing right now, you know what I'm saying? On the internet, you know, like media, virtual setting. Because one, that's going to cost less, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a little more cost efficient, you know, to, you know, do stuff virtually instead of trying to get somewhere and set up. Because I remember back in the day when cons would have like live fucking orchestras come and play, you know, and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? And that's not cheap, You feel what I'm saying? And things like that,
Facts.
and graphics and stuff on stage, and paying this actor or actress to come and do this and blah
Oh,
blah.
you're beautiful.
Yeah, that, exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like it's gonna move, it's gonna definitely move forward, but it's definitely gonna be a little bit different than it was before. But it's gonna be it's gonna be either, Comic Con, E3, Gamescom, WonderCon, DreamCon, it's still gonna be what it is with some post-pandemic adjustments,
Right.
if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think that's the same. What about you, Kev? Do you think there will be any major changes, or do you think we'll pretty much get back to where we were the before times?
I think it's gonna look. I think we'll get back there eventually. I think it depends how much. Put it this way, they can sell tickets, they're gonna do it, right? Like I think,
Facts, yeah.
like
No,
if E3 like once, yeah, and cons in general, right? Like the game companies aren't making their. I mean, E3 is not making their money just off of the companies coming there and reserving the space or whatever.
Yeah.
Like a lot of that ticket revenue is something that I think was heavily missed. So I think we'll get back to something like, I think it's going to be like how it was. I want to say like circa 2016, 2017, where Microsoft is always going to be there.
Yeah, they don't.
But,
They don't shy away. Microsoft.
No, they don't.
They love any excuse they have to pull some marketing out. So.
Right. And you know what I think? I think that's why I think a lot of companies, maybe that's why they started separating themselves from, because Microsoft, like if you're familiar, Sunday was the big day and Microsoft always went first.
Yeah. No, they did.
Yeah. And Microsoft has the money to do that. So I think now a lot of companies are like, screw that, we're not going to compete with that. So we'll just separate ourselves entirely. But I think you kind of missed the point with that, right? Like I think Sony, like one year actually it worked in their favor because Microsoft came out, announced the Xbox One. It was atrocious. They bombed it completely, so bad they basically fired their head of PR. No, they like the head of Microsoft and replaced him with their head of PR. And and PlayStation capitalized on that. I remember there was a moment where it's like Microsoft had all these weird quirks like, oh yeah, you can't share your games. Right, this is before games were like hugely, like games were still like primarily on disc back then.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, you can only play the game when you're online, and you can't share game. Like if you have a game with a disc, you can't share it with somebody else. And then Sony comes out and they're like, how do you share games with a friend? And then it's like the American VP giving like the Sony president an actual like physical copy of the game. It's like,
I remember that.
yeah. So I think, I mean, I think it's gonna. I don't know. It'll look a little different. Like I don't think we'll go back to the before times entirely. I think because it was kind of already headed this direction. Sadly enough, I would like to see it go back to the days of it was what 3 to 4 days, and it was just straight video games to the veins.
I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of split. I think some things are gonna come back with a fucking vengeance, just because I think people are. I think people are just foaming at the mouth to go do stuff, and I think.
Yeah.
I also think a lot of people lost their home training. I don't know if you've looked around. Like, have you seen all these people fighting people in airports and shit, and like acting crazy? Like, it's bad, man. And it's just like I think it's just because everybody's been locked up for a year and they're going fucking nuts. And so, like, I think, like, these cons coming back, I think they're going to get a lot more interactive. One thing that I think we'll never get back that I do agree with Dotson on is the early 2000s hype was cons used to be used, especially E3 and things like that, as a way to launch consoles. Like, I don't know if you guys remember, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson came out to introduce the Xbox, the world to the Xbox. And so it was like, and we smelled what he was cooking. Like, we were very excited for it. And so, like, it's one of those where I don't think we'll ever get back to that level because I think so many companies have wanted to do their own thing now, and they're also on company timelines. So, Xbox is going to come out with a new one whenever whenever Sony comes out with a new one, not whenever E3 is coming up, right? And so, they that is one of the big ones that I will miss from cons, though. And so, but I think they will. I think they'll make a comeback. I think we'll see, a lot of people just ready to fucking rage.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm here for it. So
hopefully.
100%.
Well, that'll get us right into our top Zen which really, honestly, like we kind of touched on it a little bit with some of the random announcements and everything that's happened, especially with Microsoft dropping the ball. Oh my God, that was a huge one. But that, obviously Microsoft isn't the only one. All this talk about E3 and cons coming back got us reminiscing over some of our favorite moments and announcements over the years. Some have been amazing, others not so much. So this week, we're actually going to change it up a bit and give you guys not only our top 5 best moments from E3, but also the top 5 worst moments from E3. And we're actually going to kick it off with the worst. That way we can end on a high note. And so
there you go.
I'm starting us off with number 5 on the worst this week with Sony almost kills the PlayStation brand with one awful presentation. And this was E3 2006. No company's E3 presentation will ever be quite as disastrous as Sony's E3 2006 spectacular. Sony's 2006 conference revolved around the formal reveal of the PlayStation 3. Given that the PlayStation 2 was far and away the world's most popular console, the reveal of the PlayStation 3 should have been a simple way for Sony to retain its market dominance. Instead, they seemingly went out of their way to sink the PlayStation name. It began humbly enough with them revealing that the PlayStation 3's gaudy $600 price point for their top tier model, and continued with the Genji development team promised to show us a game based on authentic Japanese history before revealing footage of players attacking a giant enemy crab's glowing weak point for massive damage. This is also the conference that gave us the Ridge Racer meme, world's dullest tech footage, and promised for a gimmick-free console that was immediately undone by the introduction of 3 or 4 major console gimmicks. So that was a huge one, for PlayStation as far as some of the worst. If you do not remember 2006 E3, it was a complete debacle for Sony. The price tag alone of $600 had people going, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
$600 with 2006 inflation, like that.
Yeah. That's not $600 now.
Today,
when people are like $600. What the fuck's that gonna get me? But no, seriously, it's crazy that the PlayStation's actually gotten cheaper since 2006. I mean, wild. But that is not all as far as the worst are concerned. Sax, tell us who we got at number 4 on this week's top 5 worst E3 announcements of all time.
At number 4 on this top 5 worst is Mr. Caffeine's Time Machine, E3 2011. Look, Mr. Caffeine Priceman might just be the worst E3 presenter ever. His strangely offensive humor and forced energy have inspired some to compare him to The Office's Michael Scott. But that honestly gives this guy too much credit. There's not a moment of genuine entertainment to be found in his entire speech. What really fascinating about Pierceman's presentation all these years later, though, is the popular belief that Ubisoft or Priceman may have effectively been trying to troll the audience for reasons that remain unknown. Maybe Pierceman went rogue and live Mike, or maybe someone at Ubisoft just wanted Mike. There just has to be an explanation for whatever this was. So that was not a good time.
No, and if you guys honestly, I mean, if you've never seen the video of Mr. Caffeine's Time Machine E3 2011, just give that right there Google. You can watch it. It's going to be the most awkward couple of minutes of your life, though. It's very cringy, very bad.
Super cringy.
It's not good.
No. I mean, he was so like they ended up getting Aisha Tyler to host Ubisoft conferences for like a few years after that. That was like
we're gonna go so safe. We're getting basically Lana
an
from
actual actress.
And she kicked ass, but
she always
is awesome.
This man trash.
Trash. But that's not. I mean, speaking of trash, that's not even as bad as number 3 on this week's list. I don't know. It may be, but whatever. Sometimes they don't all equal out. But Kev, tell us what is number 3 on this week's countdown of the worst moments from E3.
Yeah, guys, the third worst E3 moment was the Wii music drum solo from E3 2008. Nintendo's E3 2008 press conference had little to get excited about. I remember this. The entire show revolved around casual games, which were booming for Nintendo thanks to the popularity of the Wii. But casual fans don't tune in for E3, and nobody tunes in to watch a dude play an imaginary drum solo. Yet, that's what happened when the spotlight cast over DJ Ravi drums, who held a Wiimote and one in one hand and a nunchuck in the other. For the next minute, DJ Ravi drums played a drum solo that sounded so awful, but it wasn't really DJ Ravi drums' fault. The blame falls on Wii Music, which produced drum sounds on par with music toys designed for toddlers. DJ Ravi tried to sell it and look cool while banging the air with plastic controllers. We salute him for his effort. Poor DJ Ravi has destined to look foolish. Yeah, that was pretty cringy as well.
No, that one.
Poor
was
guy. That's a
very
long
bad.
time to be solo drumming with Wiimotes for a minute.
Especially when it's like toddler toy sounds and not like real drums. Like, because if you're a drummer and it's making real drum sounds, you could probably do something with that. But if it's just like tink, 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 you know, like some like little like fucking whatever sounds. And talk about the E3 has definitely had some of the most awkward moments in television history.
Yeah.
Which, and speaking of, we'll go right into number 2 of the worst moments from E3. It's when Jamie Kennedy called everyone at E3 virgins. This is from E3 2007. Talk about a way to set a tone. Some of you fortunate souls may have never heard of Jamie Kennedy. And if that's the case, good job. Just know that Kennedy was a self-stylized comedian who specialized in mocking other people and really took advantage of the whole like the prank show craze, I guess, that eventually became the prank YouTube craze, which is what most kids watch these days. So if you're watching some dude go mignano in someone's ear, you have Jamie Kennedy and Punked to thank for that. But anyway, so for instance, if he noticed that you were a larger individual, he may make a remark about your excess fat, proceed to make a 50-year-old observation about how it could affect your daily life, and then presumably made millions of dollars doing this. That was the Jamie Kennedy shtick. But anyway, Kennedy's career hit a low point that many may remember when he drunkenly took the stage at Activision's E3 2007 conference and proceeded to put on a miniature comedy spectacle that only those with abnormal tolerances for awkward comedy will ever be able to watch in its entirety. And that is a challenge. You just got challenged. So if you love just stewing in awkwardness, pull up Jamie Kennedy's E3 2007 thing. It was bad enough that Kennedy wasn't funny. Neversoft wasn't that the first name for vagina. I think that he had some joke with that. But when he resorted to insulting the audience and the industry, he ensured that he would become the gold standard for awkward E3 celebrity presenters. And so, I mean, yeah, while most of us were versions at the E3 2017 conference, it just wasn't nice that he pointed it out.
Yeah. You know, it's always cringy. Like I feel like there's the guy who like just tries to make a joke for the sake of making a joke, and a lot of times that is at the expense of someone else, and it's never funny. And it's not because he's making fun of the person. It's because like we know what you're trying to do. Like it's not like you're trying too hard. You're trying to be funny. That's never funny, and especially when you do like the low hanging fruit shit. Like that's. You know, real creative of you.
Yeah, no. If I mean, as a fat person, if that's what you go out the gate with, man, it's kindergarten wasn't fun. Like so, like I've had it for a long time. You're not gonna say anything. As a matter of fact, I get impressed when someone does make a fat joke I haven't heard. I'm usually like not offended by it. I'm usually like, holy shit, that's a good one. Like never got hit with that one before. You know, like so. Yeah. You got to give them kudos. Because literally, it's always and I hate whenever they try to say it's observational humor. Like, yeah, it's observations that literally fucking anybody could make. Like, you're not funny. So, and it's such a played out shtick to try to tell a whole group of people at some conference that they're all virgins. Like, come on, just because they like video games. Like, anyway. Yeah. But that is not the worst, even though it was pretty fucking bad. And like I said, Nelly looks like she said she was going to take the challenge. Take the challenge. If you want to watch a pretty bad E3 conference. Jamie Kennedy's was pretty bad. Sax, tell the people who was number 1 when it came to fucking up at E3.
Number 1, Sega Saturn's surprise launch, E3 1995.
This is before some people were born.
Big I was definitely around. During the E3 in 1995, Sega had a huge surprise for fans. Right there on stage, Sega announced its new console, the Sega Saturn, would be available in stores across the country that same day. The Saturn was supposed to launch in North America roughly 4 months after E3. While a very cool surprise indeed, Sega's strategy ultimately doomed the console. With just 6 games available at launch, there wasn't much of a reason for consumers to rush to the stores. On top of that, developers were under the assumption that they had more time before launch to get their games ready. Furthermore, retailers weren't ready, so it was hard to actually find a Saturn. The Saturn underperformed throughout its life cycle and was discontinued just 3 years later. Sega would out of the console business just a few years later after the Dreamcast flopped as well. That is a horrible, horrible time in the video game industry to announce your console is launching on the day of E3 to have it available.
At the convention. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that one's pretty brave. I mean, honestly, we said number 5 on this countdown, by the way, was Sony almost killed the PlayStation brand with their awful presentation.
Yeah.
Sega killed the Sega brand with this.
Yeah.
Like, this was legit.
Mhm.
Like, the Dreamcast came out, and I will give the Dreamcast this due. That console is way ahead of its time. It was fucking
Super
awesome.
slept on.
The
And-
Dreamcast super slept on. If it
Fantastic.
was not for this, I feel like Sony, or not Sony, but Sega could have actually made a run with the Dreamcast. But they
Yeah.
put so much money into this shit, and for it to completely flop, that by the early 2000s, this company was already on its last legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate because the Dreamcast was definitely a console before its time. It introduced the open world of the Shenmue game that we're talking about. That was on the Dreamcast. So it was fantastic. But we're talking about the Sega Saturn here, and I had that console as well. That console was it was all right because like it I believe the Dreamcast, like it was just behind the PlayStation console. Like PlayStation came out too long after that. So it was like, like I'll play it because it's a video game and it's better than the Genesis.
Yeah.
But it's like that's literally the only reason to play it because it was like it was better than Genesis.
Yeah.
Which that was the first. That was honestly, I think, one of the first consoles I ever owned was the Sega Genesis.
Same.
So,
100%.
R.I.P. baby. Love that Sega's still alive through some of its things, though. Like, I'm glad Sonic never died. Like,
I don't think Sonic can ever die.
Yeah. What is it? What is dead may never die.
Yeah.
But that'll wrap it up for the 5 worst. And we didn't want to leave you guys with just the worst. So we also wanted to give you guys the best. And so now we have the top 5 best moments of E3. And Kev, you've got us with honestly one of the most wholesome in the world. Who's number 5 on the top 5 best moments from E3?
I hope your bodies are ready for this one, everyone. Reggie, the meme maker, meets the world. It's not there hadn't been memorable Nintendo E3 moments before 2004, but rather that many of the studio's most memorable E3 moments earned that distinction for all the wrong reasons. Nintendo had long struggled to properly present themselves within the constraints of the E3 format, while Sony and Microsoft were well on their way to mastering the subtle art of the E3 press conference. That all changed the very moment that Reggie Fils-Aime kicked off Nintendo's E3 2004 press conference by saying, "My name is Reggie. I'm about kicking ass, I'm about taking names, and we're about making games." God bless you. Phil-Aime
God bless you, Reggie.
gave Nintendo an undeniably charismatic onstage presence that none of their previous E3 conferences had benefited from. Many of Reggie's quips would go on to become internet memes, most notably, "My body is ready." There is no denying that he became the centerpiece for one of the greatest E3 presentations in any major studio has ever given.
Yeah, no, this is, I mean, honestly, surprised. Making the top 5 best was harder than the worst, obviously, because like Reggie, like this, he was always such a wholesome presence at any one of these conventions, and he would always say something that was definitely destined for greatness. When it came to like just memeing.
Even if he didn't mean it to be.
Even if he didn't mean it. I think it was just because he was such a genuinely like good guy. Like you always got that feeling from him that he just loved Nintendo and liked making games and stuff. And so Bowser had some big shoes to fill, but with a name like Bowser, I think he can.
Yeah, no, I always smile a little bit when I see Reggie.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's almost a habit.
It is.
Like
It's
that.
weird. It's weird. I just see him like,
Oh, Reggie.
yeah.
It's probably the memes. Memes can be great for marketing.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah. But number 4 on this week's countdown is another one that we kind of referenced in the beginning. Keanu's No, You're Beautiful. The history of celebrity presenters at E3 is not, well, great, as we talked about with Jamie Kennedy earlier. While most E3 celebrities try their best with some notable expectations, it's hard for them to shake the vibe that they're just there for a paycheck. Then there's Keanu Reeves. Moments after the world learned that Reeves would be playing Johnny Silverhand in Cyberpunk 2077, the star walked out to the stage on E3 2019 and received the kind of applause typically not heard outside of pro wrestling arenas. And this was just a perfect combination of timing, star power, and delivery that made for one of the most memorable celebrity E3 moments of all time. I mean, and I don't know if anybody will ever be really able to top it. It's not just that we got the announcement that, you know, this beloved actor, Keanu Reeves, was going to be playing Johnny Silverhand, which honestly, fucking, if Lana's still listening, come on, shouts out Johnny Silverhand. Love the character. Really, like, I mean, she makes a bunch of TikToks about Johnny Silverhand, and I'm always like liking to stay in Cyberpunk TikTok because it's just one of those where like I actually enjoyed the game, you know? And so this announcement was a lot of fun. Obviously, it got memed to hell and back. And so that's how I consider it to be a top one. What did you guys feel about this big E3 moment here with Keanu screaming, "No, you're beautiful"? Did you feel it in your soul?
I did. I felt beautiful. No, I think, you know, Keanu's another one of those guys where it's just like he can't really do anything wrong. And the fact that he was presenting what, like, he's so great that like the clusterfuck that was Cyberpunk isn't even associated with Keanu Reeves. Like we don't even like
it didn't hurt.
Didn't
It
even
hurt
touch
Keanu
him.
at all.
Didn't even touch him. No.
Yeah. No one was mad
him.
at Keanu.
No.
Quite the contrary. People were modding and having sex with him. I think we covered that.
We did. We covered that story too. People were even modding it so they could just have sex with Johnny Silverhand. And I mean, you know, it's okay. Sometimes you want to see what a Silverhand can do. I heard they don't shake. I heard they're very steady. But that is not it for this week's top 5. We actually are just at number 4, and I mean actually just at number 3. And Sax, give the people who is number 3 or what is number 3 in our top 5 best E3 announcements of all time.
Top 5 and number 3 is Gabe Newell's Sony surprise. The word surreal has joined the likes of epic in the category of words that the people of the internet have collectively watered down. Whereas surreal used to be used to describe a situation so out of the ordinary that it's almost dreamlike. Now surreal can be used to describe seeing someone eating a Whopper at McDonald's. As far as truly surreal E3 moments go, however, Gabe Newell's 2010 appearance has to be near the top of the list. At a time when Valve was considered to be one of the most cannibalistic game studios in the world, the god of the PC Master Race himself took the stage at a conference of all things to announce that Portal 2 was coming to the PlayStation 3. While the sight of Gabe at E3 on a competitor stage was odd enough, this moment has only become even more surreal as time wears on and Valve slowly shuffles away from the whole game development thing.
Yeah.
So that's super big when you have someone from the PC world come to the console world and say, hey, this game that I've made on PC, it's coming.
Yeah. Get ready. No, it was a big shock at the time, and I don't think people would really understand it now because, you know, Valve has kind of just become Steam, and, you know, like it's not really the game developer that it used to be, right? And so it's one of those things where, you know, Valve was the PC Master Race kind of like game dev. Like they were number 1 with Half-Life and, you know, Portal and all these amazing. Yeah, exactly. And so to see Gabe come out for PlayStation, you know, like it definitely took people by surprise, but it was obviously because Portal 2 coming to PlayStation 3, huge deal. Portal 2 still one of the best games ever created. Portal's games as a whole are fucking phenomenal, but Awesome. Yeah. Well, that is not it for this week's top 5. Kevin, who do we have at number 2 on the top 5 best E3 announcements?
Number 2, the Zelda Twilight Princess trailer caps off Nintendo's greatest E3 presentation. It's easy to make fun of Nintendo, fun too. For instance, one could say something like, why did Nintendo cross the road? Because it was the least efficient way possible of getting to where they were going. For as many mistakes as Nintendo has made at E3 over the years, the company's 2004 presentation stands as the company's one perfect presentation. Not only did it feature the aforementioned Reggie Fils-Aime introduction, but it introduced gamers to the Nintendo DS, arguably the greatest handheld gaming device ever made, and even offered up the first public reference to the console that would become the Nintendo Wii. I think it was called like the Nintendo Revolution at the time. It had some interesting name, but however, the best was certainly saved for last. At a time when many Zelda fans were still upset that Nintendo had abandoned a more mature style of Zelda game in favor of Wind Waker's Saturday morning cartoon visuals, Nintendo came along and debuted the decidedly mature and dark first trailer for Twilight Princess. The reveal was topped off by Shigeru Miyamoto gracing the stage with shield and sword and gleefully in hand. It was the kind of moment that only Nintendo could deliver. I still remember this, and I'm really looking forward to this remastered Twilight Princess now.
Yeah, no, that was one of the reasons, for throwing it up on the list was definitely the remastered Twilight Princess coming, Breath of the Wild 2 being announced. It's one of those where Nintendo Directs are great. I really do enjoy them. I like how quick they are. I like, kind of how they get through it. I do miss Reggie. I will say that. But I don't like how non-personal they started to get, because this used to be the big moments when, Nintendo would come out and, you got guys like Shigeru coming, with a sword and shield in hand, full Triforce rocking shit. Just it really gets you kind of excited for the new game, coming out and everything. And it feels more personable in a way than just dropping a trailer.
Yeah.
And so I think that's definitely one of the big ones that I'm going to miss. But I definitely remember this one. And Twilight Princess is still one of the better Zelda games of all time. So, really great.
Sure. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, number 1 on this week's countdown.
Number 1.
For better or for worse, Halo 2 reveal sets a new standard for E3. This was in 2003. You had to be around for Halo to truly appreciate what Halo meant. Halo not only gave millions of people a reason to buy an Xbox, it showed those same gamers that consoles could offer a first-person shooter experience largely free from compromise. It was a unique title that became a true phenomenon in a matter of weeks. Needless to say, the hype surrounding the eventual sequel was at a fever pitch by the time E3 2003 rolled around. The Halo 2 reveal represented the good and the bad of E3 game reveals. The good is obviously that the moment of the reveal itself, it was some of the first time that we had seen Halo 2 footage, and it was phenomenal. The first footage of Halo 2 received an audible pop of applause, typically reserved for major moments during championship games. I mean, if you go back and watch some of the footage from this year's E3, people were losing their fucking minds after this trailer. It was a wave of relief and anticipation just gushing out at full force. Everyone was so excited for Halo 2. But on the bad side, which is probably one of the biggest bads of all cons, things were not as they appeared. It come out later that Bungie had admitted that they could not replicate the footage that they showed at E3, and that basically had to rebuild Halo 2 from scratch because to emulate what they showed at E3. The success of Halo 2, though, revealed that the unreasonable hype it generated had, is kind of worth it. Halo 2 ended up being one of the best kind of in the franchise. Everybody really enjoyed it. And it really,
games too.
It's one of the best games of all time. And so it's crazy that the trailer did so well. They had to basically go back and rebuild the game to better match the trailer because of everybody really loved it so much. But I mean, like I said at the top, Halo is just one of those things that you had to be there to really understand it. I think with the new one, you're getting a little taste of it, but it's nowhere near what it was back in the day, specifically when the Xbox first came out. But what do you guys think about number 1 this week? Do you remember Halo 2's announcement and how and how amazing it was?
Oh, I remember the announcement. I remember all the hype leading up to it. Like, remember looking in the magazine, seeing like all the, all
Yeah.
this like all these new features coming to like dual wielding weapons and using
Ooh, dual
swords
wielding was a huge one.
and match. This was the first game that had matchmaking.
Yeah.
Like I remember this just like sitting down in my room with with the family's internet DSL box plugged into my Xbox, eating Reese's peanut butter cups and getting cussed out by some grown man for being trash. You know,
Yeah.
like my memories of Halo are great and strong. Like
I know. Yeah, same,
They're-
man.
They're like the memories of Halo are definitely positive and negative, like 1,000%. But if anything, unforgettable, definitely
Yeah.
memorable. And I remember this reveal in E3, and people lost their damn minds. And I'm
Yeah.
saying, at this time, going out of being a freshman in high school, going into be a sophomore, like this was fantastic. This was everything
Huge
we
announcement.
needed.
Honestly, Halo, I mean, now, not just now talking about it, it's something I've thought about a lot, but like, it was one of those things that like I was already in gaming, but it got me into gaming, like especially like online competitive play and stuff like that. Oh, dude, that's and like you said, it was one of the first times that matchmaking was a thing. So I got yelled at. I think I like 14-year-old self was getting yelled at from people from other countries. Like somebody would speak Spanish, super, and I'd be like, me being in Alabama, being like, "What the fuck did you just say?" And then they'd be like, "Oh, fuck you." And I'm like, oh, okay. Like
The beginning of toxicity, for real.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
It kind of was, but it still was a lot of fun.
I mean, to be fair,
Thousands
like thinking about it, it makes sense why that happens. Like you're gonna have people who have no idea where they are, what they look like, what they're about, and you're just gonna throw them in this room with all this fucking raging, like anger and testosterone or whatever the fuck, and
Grenades.
Yeah. Life then online was like a GTA lobby. That's how. That's how much vitriol there was.
I'd hate to sound like the old man, but I do feel for some of the younger generation because they didn't get as unfeathered access to the internet as we did. Like. And some of those Halo lobbies were just that. They were just straight drinking from the water hose of what is life. Like some some of those random chaotic shit. And so but it was so much fun. And honestly, I think it shaped a lot of people's childhood. So Halo 2 takes number 1 on the best announcement this week. But guys, I mean, that's the show. That'll wrap it up for this episode of Geek Life. We hope you enjoyed everything that we talked about today. Remember, if you want more Geek Life, you can always follow us on Twitter and on Twitch. You can find me at Gonzo Gone Live. Where can they find you at, Kev?
They can find me at Totally Awesome on Twitch and TikTok and Xbox.
Boom. And what about you, Sax?
They can find me on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter. Javen Shepherd and the Fattest Sax also on Twitch.
Awesome. You can also check out more Geek Life on YouTube, Instagram. Links can be found in the description. We got TikTok. I mean, the Discord. Join the Nerd Herd. Join the Nerd Herd. If you're not a part of the Nerd Herd, what are you doing?
You're missing out so much.
Missing out. We have a lot of great conversations, like who in the Justice League would go down on, like other people.
Like the thing people need to know,
Exactly, the nerdy news you need to know. But big shout out to our producer tonight, Cape. Thank you so much for producing. Shout out to our moderator, Lilith Nelly. I also saw our boy Bruce Bain, which is the Dodd, popping off in chat. Thanks, Lana. Thank you, Savage. Thank you, Sag. I know we saw you earlier.
Extreme Greatness, Jay White.
That was great. 21 said, I have a question way earlier. Sorry, I missed you. If you have it, now's the time. Ask away. And so, but Extreme Greatness popping off in chat earlier too. Thank you so much. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Honestly, we had had a good viewership for a lot of this show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had a good time hosting it.
Yeah.
God will be back. I'm actually going to be on vacation for a long time. That's one of the big reasons why I kind of filled in this week, because I'm actually going to be out for a good bit. So, definitely stay tuned. Follow me on those socials I shouted out so you can see my Greece adventures. But before we go, anything from you guys? Kev, this camera, what do you got going on?
Yeah. Nothing really. I got some music I got to work on, so stay tuned for that. And I'm really starting to settle in, so I'm excited to be getting back on the box, as we say. So yeah.
I'm glad. I know Cape got my reference. That's Sean Evans does that every episode of Hot Ones. This camera. What do you got going on? Tell the people. But no, that's awesome, Kev. Definitely moving, super stressful. So just hang in there, bud.
Yeah.
And Sax, what about yourself? Anything? What do you got going on?
Just catch me on my stream. And catch the YouTube. Got some content coming. I'm excited about that. And also, again, September, second weekend in September, Danville, Virginia, Blue Ridge Rock Festival. I will be performing alongside the act that's on the show, Awesome Ray Ray.
Nice.
We're going to get it in.
Nice.
Stay tuned. We'll be hyping that up as it gets closer to time as well.
Absolutely.
Well, that'll wrap it up for this week, guys. We will be back. I don't know if we'll be back for a July 4th show, actually, because we're doing it every 2 weeks, but we may be back the week after. We'll definitely probably be around for some Saxter days. I know that we still, got that popping. I know that Dodd's going to be around with some free game Fridays. So stay tuned onto the channel. In general, we're doing shit. But thanks for tuning in tonight, everybody. Have a good one. Peace.